loading.
Focus.
Can't be running around like a chicken and then just to enter studio, right? So much energy, but you also can't be so dialed in and so trying to do your job perfectly that you're not playing passionate, good football.
Watt expected to play for the Cardinals Sunday against the Raiders after battling a calf issue. The Diamondbacks are home again for the Padres tonight. I'm Frank Garrity on Fox Sports 910, available everywhere on the free Radio app.
This is the Parker and Sons Weather Center. For all your AC, plumbing, and electric needs, call Parker.
On tap, temperatures getting up to about 98 degrees, still a few degrees below those seasonal averages with plenty of sun. And then tonight, those temperatures dropping into those mid-70s with mostly clear skies. For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Ty Brennan.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The internet loves Mexican pizza so much, Taco Bell made a musical about it.
10 seconds.
Show on TikTok. But first, pick up or get your own Mexican pizza delivered from a participating U.S. Taco Bell location. While supplies last, contact local store for hours and participation, which vary.
Calling all sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Proudly sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing and is powered by the injury attorneys Lerner and Rowe. In Iraq and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900 and always online at lernerandrowe.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
You made it to Friday. Welcome in, Roc and Manuch with Jax today at Wright Toyota, right across the street from the TPC Scottsdale Golf Course. And guess what? It's all getting started. Construction has started at TPC Scottsdale. We're right across from 16 and 17. And this is going to be one of the biggest years ever for the Waste Management Phoenix Open as it's Super Bowl week here in the Valley.
Oh, yeah,
it's
buddy.
It's going to be crazy. I know tickets are basically all sold out. The hospitality tickets all went on sale yesterday, and they're basically all sold out. So you're going to the Phoenix Open, you better start working on that ticket now because it's going to be a zoo.
Putting your feelers out there. A lot of buddies that live in the Southwest may want to be coming out here. All of a sudden, Buffalo comes, or Tampa comes again, or whomever. It could be a lot of folks from back east reaching out early on just to kind of bet on the come, if you will, Roc.
Yeah,
some of the favorites.
My family's coming out from Charlotte. They already got the reservations and haven't told them yet they're not staying at my house.
I was just gonna ask you.
Because I may rent my house, for the week. So I'm thinking about doing that.
You make a lot of dinero, Roc. A lot of money.
Hey, let's get right to it. Our top story, actually, it's stories for this first hour of Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Well, it's got to be the Cardinals, as they are going to be without Andy Isabella and Rondell Moore. Moore has got a hamstring. Of course, he missed the opener against Kansas City. Isabella, he's been dealing with a back issue. You already have Antoine Wesley out with his groin and hip, and DeAndre on the suspension. And there aren't much guys left. Well, you got Dortch, you got A.J. Green, and you got Hollywood Brown. And that's it. You got some guys that are on the practice squad that'll probably get elevated.
Looks like Pacelli's going to be activated or moved up, I should say, to the varsity off the off the JV team. They may activate a few others. You'll have your three tight ends. I don't know if Trey McBride's going to play or not. It'll be McWilliams, Stevenson, and Ertz as your three tight ends. You mentioned the receivers there, Roc. You have 8. May have one more come up from the off the inactive roster to play. Just decimated. This passing team is decimated. I think you'll see maybe a few more screens, slip screens, either out to Eno Benjamin or James Conner. Remember, you can always use them in the passing game as well. But there'll be a lot of, hey, AJ, hey, Hollywood, guess what, guys, and Zach Ertz, you're going to be the go-to guys.
You're going to hear from Zach here in about 10 minutes, but he's dealing with a calf issue as well. Yeah. So he's going to have to be careful. He may not be 100%.
And that's the whole thing, Roc. If you're at 85, 90%, you're going against this Raiders defense. you better have your tight ends in full force and effect, because if you're not ready to go and you push off on that calf, you could restrain it, you could tear it. There's a lot of things you could do, but these hamstring injuries and the lower back issue, and Andy Isabella with us a great preseason, plays one game, and now he's got a back issue. He's out. So I guess as far as these soft tissue injuries and back injuries and neck injuries and all the above are catching up with this team. So I think a concerted effort for the running game and catching a lot more screens out of the backfield and passes out of the backfield with your running backs.
We have a minority owner, and the vice chairman of the Suns is calling for Robert Sarver to resign as a letter was written by
John Najafi,
who basically informed the employees yesterday that he's along the lines of zero tolerance for discriminatory actions in any workplace, and is basically saying in a nutshell that after this 1 year, he's gone. He needs to resign.
It sounds like if he can get a lot of the remaining minority owners to jump on board, I don't know what the mechanics would be for that, to go to him and either buy him out or force him out, go to the court of public opinion and put that pressure on him. And I think those are some of the things that Nam Najafi, who I've known for many, many years, he's a real estate developer, very extremely wealthy. He and his brother, I think they're billionaires, to put that pressure on him. Mm-hmm. And if he refuses to resign after this year is over, then I would be interested to see if there'd be some kind of a buyout from these minorities, or they sold their interest out to other investors at that point in time.
And we talked about a little bit yesterday, what's going to happen next, what balls are going to start falling. And one of them is PayPal. PayPal is the official patch partner for the Phoenix Suns and the Mercury. And they have come out today and have said that if Robert Sarver is not removed, then they are going to pull their sponsorship.
Yeah,
it only takes one to get this ball rolling.
Yeah, and you hit that yesterday, Rock. It's one of those things where, okay, I think you said in the pocketbook, where's that going to come to? And with PayPal, huge. From here on out, do others follow suit, other sponsors, I mean. And at that point, if you've got your minority owners, you've got PayPal, huge. I'm interested to see, I think the contract with the stadium, the rights, I forget the name of the stadium they got
Footprint.
Down. Yeah, Footprint. I don't know what they could do. That's contracts in place. If they'd be able to have some
PayPal's contracts in place.
Yeah, it's true.
But all these contracts have some verbiage in there for something like this.
Yeah, I would think so.
No, they do. I can tell you from the contracts that I have that I've been involved in over the last couple of years. Yes, there is some line
something
items
to
in
protect
there.
that.
Yep, absolutely.
Or I'd heard something this morning too about since the city of Phoenix owns the arena down there.
Well, the Phoenix mayor had a statement yesterday that she's asked the city staff to investigate any potential actions, in regards to what is going on in the workplace for the Phoenix Suns. I mean, when the mayor gets involved, damn.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I think the way this has come down and the atrocities that have been, I mean, it affects everybody, government-wise, NBA-wise, investor-wise, sponsor-wise. So this is, folks, it's not over. I think that
it's not even close.
If Robert Sarver within 6 months, and the heat is on even more so with, hell, we could see fan protests. We haven't seen much from the players at this particular point in time, but we could see a lot of pressure.
We'll definitely
Robert Sarver to move on.
We'll definitely see protests.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's just part of our society now. If something like this happens, there's people just ready to go. I mean, they have the signs already printed. They've been at fast signs. They got them ordered already. They're out there waiting to get out there and just finding a reason, which will probably be media day. I mean, if you're a protester, you're going to go where all the cameras are, and that's going to be the day where all these cameras will be out there. What is that, next Monday or Tuesday, whatever
11, 10 days.
And that'll be the day that I see a protest coming. I hate protests personally, but you have your right. You have that right.
As long as they keep their distance and they don't harass anybody per se. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see how many of the other sponsors fall in line with all the other entities that have that that language, that code of conduct language, that's in a lot of those contracts, as you mentioned, Rock. So it's this is not over by any chance, and this is I think the first shoe to drop.
Dre Jameson. You know who that is, guys? Well, you
How about
need to.
that,
He
man?
had his big league debut yesterday for the Diamondbacks, and he shut out the Padres. He went 7 shutout innings for the win. He was a first-round pick back in 2019. So we're starting to see a bunch of young guys really perform quite well at the next level.
I only gave up the 2 hits, had the 5 Ks, and here's a team of San Diego Padres that are keeping pace with trying to make a wild card spot or maintain the wild card spot. Very impressive. You forget this kid was the first pick a few short years ago, and boy, just looked poised. He looked in command. Wasn't afraid to throw a changeup or curveball on a 3-0 count. And he can bring in there, what, about 97, 98 miles an hour. This kid at his age, not only can he bring it, but he's a good pitcher. And again, with some of these young guys coming up in the opportunity with 3 weeks to go until the season's over, I like seeing this. It gives you hope going into next spring training that this team will be maybe a little bit more competitive early on going into next season. Now it's just a matter of the bullpen, and can they get some help there to maintain if these young guys, these young starters come up and have success.
He was the 34th overall pick in that draft in 2019 from Greenfield, Indiana. So good stuff. I mean, he played some ball at Ball State and was really a superstar in the Mid-American Conference, freshman pitcher of the year, and then just tore it apart in his sophomore year. He was the MAC pitcher of the year. So this kid's the real deal, and glad that we're seeing him already.
Yeah,
which is great.
To
get a contract. Now he's got the big contract because he originally signed for $1.4 million, but now he gets the big league contract and makes his debut last night. Like you said, no runs, 1 walk, 2 hits. That's pretty strong.
Soto, Ofer, Machado, Ofer, Cronenworth, Ofer. I mean, you just go, wow. And you think that you look at Machado, who's really been struggling at the plate as of late. But these guys, you look at, that's a pretty good little group right there. Myers, Soto, Machado, and Cronenworth. 0 for 17 out of those 4 batters in last night's game by that young man.
ASU's got Eastern Michigan tomorrow night at 8 o'clock on Frank Cush Field. The basketball team announced their schedule. That is out. You can check it out on the Sun Devils website, but they'll begin play in December on the 1st against Colorado. They open up at Utah. Arizona, I should say, opens up on Utah on that same night. So Devils and Wildcats have their schedule ready and up on their websites. But the Devils and Wildcats will meet for the first time on New Year's Eve in Tempe. Same night as the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy night in sports. And then the rematch will be February 25th in Tucson. Hey, coming up, we will hear from Zach Ertz, Kyler Murray, and J.J. Watt. We call it our Friday bird droppings. That's next as Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910 continues. I think the computer
more than anything, just ownership. You know, he's gone out and he knows it starts with him. You know, that's the organization made it abundantly clear that he's the face of the franchise and everything's going to go through you. And we got to get better. And so I definitely sensed that he felt that out there today. His presence, the way he was making corrections and wanting plays over again that weren't right. I mean, he's taking ownership of it.
That's the coach talking about his quarterback, Kyler Murray. His frustrations, they take ownership of it.
Yeah, he should. Sure, he should. It's not all his fault. I mean, it's just, you know, you're the guy. You just kind of say, hey, look, it all starts with me. That's kind of the can line for a quarterback. Hey, it starts with me. If I can make sure everything's good with me and make this team and do all the things we can do, then we've got a good shot at winning. So I like that about Kyler Murray. I think that's part of that mature growth. He's going to have to say, look, this is on me now. Okay, yeah. It's on me, and it's my fourth year, and it's time for me to move this thing forward and be more verbal. Not that you got to rant and rave and holler, just be more verbal on the sideline and talk to guys and be engaged all the time. You know, try to help this team win at all costs.
Let's hear from Kyler Murray. Ben, let's go to cut number 3 with him talking about facing Chandler Jones.
Man, it's gonna be fun. Chan is, he's a great dude. One of the best teammates I've ever been able, had the pleasure to play with. It's gonna be weird, different. Obviously seeing him in a new uniform, but at the end of the day, he's got one job. I got one job.
5 seconds.
We'll be able to chop it up after the game, but when we're on the field, obviously it is what it is.
I love that term. We're gonna chop it up after
chop
the game.
It up.
Just chop it up.
Talk a little bit. Catch up.
No, it's chop it up.
Oh, it's gonna be chop it up. Yeah. I haven't heard that in a long time.
I haven't either.
That's an old expression.
It really is.
Oh, way back. Yeah, we're gonna chop it up for a little bit.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see him too. I want to see. I don't know what the over under is. I don't know how many sacks. We should look that up. But I think Chandler Jones is gonna be pumped up.
Ooh, you think?
And he knows his offensive line pretty well.
Oh, he does. Yeah, and at this point in time, it looks as though Justin Pugh is questionable. I hope he plays because you're going to need all hands on deck of that offensive line when you have a guy like Chandler Jones and this defense will come out and get after you a little bit. They got after Justin Herbert several times in that game last week. So again, you always are aware where Chandler Jones is. Not that you're consumed with him. You just have guys that have got their responsibilities with him. But if I'm a quarterback, I'm just aware if he's over here or over there. And just so we game plan to understand if he comes, either we chip him or we get the ball out. So, hey, Kyler, it's on you when he brings the heat from the outside.
And here's Kyler talking about last week being a wake-up call for this team.
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be. I think if there wasn't, then it's just – when you get beat like that, at home, game one, it's got to be a wake up call for whoever felt complacent or whatever internally. You got to look in the mirror individually, and do you really want to be here? Do you really want to be great? Like what drives you? Like those are the questions I feel like need to be asked.
Wake up call the first game of the year, guys. Were you sleeping during preseason? You got complacent? Hell, you hardly practiced. You hardly played. I mean, I'd be jacked up. First game of the year, home game. You got the Chiefs. You better be hitting on all cylinders if you have any chance of beating the Kansas City Chiefs. So this whole, wake up call this, wake up call that. Well, guys, be a pro. And that's on the coaches. That's on Cliff Kingsbury. But I really believe Kingsbury, the term you're going to have to practice harder, get a lot better prepared, was a shot across the bow, across that locker room, say, look, we did all we could do. Not that he was, saying us coaches had you prepared. It's up to you to take care of yourself. Well, I think it was. And I think from here on out, they got to realize you can't just show up, especially against the Chiefs. That just blows me away.
I don't think it matters who the opponent is.
Yeah, I mean, game one at home.
Yeah,
how are you not just jumping out of the rafters in that kind of a game?
Let's hear from Zach Ertz on Murray and his thoughts on Murray about how he's been building us up after this week 1 loss.
He's been building us up. Obviously, everyone was down, and he's kind of been the guy to
not dwell on the past. He's really been a guy that's kind of focusing on the future because we know the talent we have on offense, and we should be able to put up points, and we should be able to execute, and we should do this, should do that, but we got to go out there and do it. Kyler's a guy that wants things done precisely. He wants guys to be where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there. He's going to let you know how he wants things, and that's all I care about. It doesn't matter how I view a route. It doesn't matter if I think I should do this or that. Ultimately, it's about what the quarterback wants, and so we're constantly talking football, how he wants certain routes run, because to me, that's what all route running is about, being ready when the quarterback's ready, being where you're supposed to be when he's ready.
I'm glad to hear that. It seems like Kyler's finally like, look, taking more ownership of the offense, taking more ownership of your routes. On this route, I need you here, here, and here, or this is where I'm going to put you on this coverage. If he's got outside leverage, just hook it up, or I'm going to put it more on your back shoulder. If he's got inside leverage, I'm going to lead you more to the sideline. I mean, just little things like that should be constant verbiage, during practice all week, and obviously during the game too. You'll make those adjustments. So I'm glad to hear that Kyler's dialed in. Not that he's never been dialed in, but I just think he's like, hey, look, man, this deal's on me. I'm the guy. I'm getting paid that money. I need to be verbal and let everybody know I know exactly where you got to be on these different coverages.
And it's one thing on the field to show that type of leadership, but he also needs to be vocal about it. And here's Ertz talking about how he's become more vocal on the leadership role.
I definitely think he's more vocal this year. I think he's kind of taken on that vocal leadership role. And I also just think he's even after the game, when we got our butts kicked on Sunday, he was the guy going around the locker room, kind of telling everyone, we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. So for me, I think he's just taking that next step. Everyone wants the finished product in today's society, and that's just not reality. Everyone's got to grow up. I'm a lot better leader now than I was when I was 24, 25. So he's doing a great job.
Sounds like he really sound. If this is truly Kyler Murray, this is what I think a lot of fans have been wanting to hear for 2 years at least.
He is he's taken sole ownership of that offense and of this team to say, all right, guys, it's on me. Get on. I'm going to lead you to the promised land. Hopefully,
it's refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, and again, the first couple of years you're out there playing, you're trying to, make plays for you and get this offense, learn the National Football League. Well, now I think he feels more confident what he's seeing, knowing the offense. And now I think he realizes, guys, that, hey, look, this is on me. Not about the money. It's about, hey, it's if we're going to have a chance to go to the Super Bowl here, either this year, next couple of years, whenever, I've got to take those reins and nobody else. So nobody gets, any ideas of bringing somebody else in down the road. That's where I think that the light bulb went off for him. It's like, it's not all about physical. It's verbal. And it's also taking that lead on and off the field.
No, I really think, as I said, it's very refreshing to hear that if that's truly Kyler. And, we don't know a lot about Kyler.
Not really. Kind of an enigma, isn't he?
He really is. I mean, you really don't know a lot about him because he's not out and about. You get him in the presser after a game, and that's it. He's not doing you don't see him doing radio interviews, TV interviews. You don't. Whereas we're accustomed to where we've had some pretty good quarterbacks here. You had the Kurt Warners, which was everywhere. Jake Plummer. They were the last two. I kind of think of what's his name? Oh my God, Palmer.
Yeah.
He was even a little
more out there.
Because as a quarterback, you need to be. And maybe he's coming around, and better late than never, I guess. You got paid. Now it's time to really take over, and he has. And I think that's great if he's truly walking around after a game and talking to players.
Sure.
We don't know that. We don't see that.
Yeah, especially after you get your butt whooped like that. You bet you got to run to everybody and say, look, we're all right. Yeah, hey, look, guys, we got our butts whooped. Plain and simple. Let's get back at it on Monday. Have your day off Tuesday. Let's get refocused no matter who we play.
Are you in a need for a new patio grill set for your backyard? Well, we got one for you, and you have a chance to win one right now. Just text PEAKS to 55678. That's PEAKS to 55678. You'll be entered to win a custom backyard grill patio set, and it's courtesy of Twin Peaks, Blue Moon, and Coors Light. You can enter once a day. Standard message and data rates apply. Again, just text PEAKS to 55678. Had a pretty good game last night on Thursday night, and with the Chiefs beating the Chargers, and game was tied at 14 in the fourth quarter, and and the Chargers were a yard away, a yard away, and then there's that pick by Watson, 99-yard pick six. Welcome to the National Football League, huh?
Wow, what a great play! He showed outside leverage, and he kind of baited Justin Herbert to throw that ball inside. He sat out there and then brought in there and picked that one all the way. And I mean, that was a hell of a drive too. But the Chargers going down, I'm like, man.
Let's jump to it. I mean, this is our call of the day, no question.
Quick tempo and picked off at the 1-yard line. That is Watson all the way for the touchdown. Unreal. Perfect timing. Great job by a rookie in Watson to step in front of that throw. Jalen Watson. What is your career highlight, Jalen?
That's pretty good.
Call on Amazon Prime last night, the debut of the Amazon Prime by
itself. Kirk Herbstreit.
Yeah, they were great. Don't get me wrong, but Kurt's a college football guy.
Yeah,
stick to what he needs to stick to
what got you there. You know, but he did a good job.
You got a Buckeye in the booth along with us. Michael. But we're going to get into some positives and negatives from, or at least some feedback after that first broadcast. That in the next hour, I have some notes I want to pass along. But we're going to catch up with Sean Salisbury. Will go unfiltered. He'll be uncensored. He'll give us his thoughts on the first week in the National Football League, and we'll even talk some college football with him as well. That's next as we continue on from Wright Toyota to Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
go Raider Chargers here if you want to. I mean, Raider Cardinals.
HHS, and the
Or last night's game.
I was going to college. So.
All right. Whatever. I'm good.
Guys are hot.
Roc and Manuch out here at Wright Toyota, right on the corner, right on the price. Wright Toyota. We had some phone issues with Sean, so looks like we won't catch up with Sean Salisbury this week. He's somewhere in Texas and doesn't have a good signal, so we will get him next week. Speaking of Texas, came out today that the Texas Longhorns spared no expense in recruiting Arch Manning this past summer. So the numbers came out when they were recruiting. The official recruitment visit was there in Austin, Texas, in June. The university spent $280,000. They rolled out the red carpet, did they? And there were 8 other recruits there as well, but include airfare, 5-star hotels, food, desserts, entertainment, an open bar for the parents. And Manning, he was the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning. He has verbally committed to Texas. But they kind of broke out, the Athletic did, how much it was spent, how they spent it. It was $21,000 on travel, $46,000 some change on 34 rooms at the Four Seasons in Austin.
34 rooms?
Yep. $17,000 some change for a lunch buffet on Friday. It's a weekend. They did $1,800 in custom cakes and snacks that were in the recruits' rooms.
Yes.
$3,300 on some speaker rentals and things like that. $29,000 on a dinner buffet. $11,880 on an open bar for the recruits' parents. They had another hotel buffet at 2 a.m. They had a $10,000 breakfast buffet on Saturday morning. They took them all to Topgolf, 75 people there, and that cost close to $9,500. Dinner was $36,900, which included 34 bone-in ribeyes and 26 8-ounce fillets, 17 New York strips, some sea bass,
yeah, they broke it down,
lobsters, some lobster mac, cheese, and more. It's just funny. 46 7-ounce lobsters.
Yes.
And then they did a boat cruise on the Lady Bird Lake there, and they had some dessert in there, and that was $2,300. And this is the one I love. $31,628.75 was the bar tab for the parents at the W in Austin.
The parents, the relatives, the grandmother.
That is a weekend.
Wow.
Is that how you were recruited?
I think they spent about $100. My playing the.
How about you, Jackson? You played it. You played it, Montana. Did you get recruited that way?
Well, I was a walk-on.
You were
$0 on me.
You were a great investment there.
Oh yeah.
Hell, it was just a plain airfare, and I slept in the dorm at the athletic dorm. And then I went to the training table with the other guys. I think I went out to dinner. I think one of the coaches took me out to dinner or something like that. And it was pretty simple stuff. And I went during the week too. I was there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, came on Saturday. So shoot, Rock, they got me on the cheap, man. But I got a full ride out of it. So
that's ridiculous.
Enough to be said. $31,000 for the bar tab. Welcome to Texas, UT Austin, folks.
Interesting. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, is going to begin an investigation into whether unpaid college athletes are being discriminated against because they are not fairly compensated.
Oh, my gosh.
So they recently referred to an employment and civil rights complaint filed by the National College Players Association, the NCPA, to the Department of Education. This happened in March. Now, the complaint says that all 350 NCAA Division I schools are violating black students' civil rights by capping the compensation. Now, the NCAA, they limit what schools can offer athletes in terms of scholarship money, and largely they prohibit any direct pay to the players. But that whole world is just changing because of NIL.
Right.
But I'm anxious to see how college athlete compensation is going to be. It's going to be an issue.
Well, I think one of the reasons why Texas Tech has given every football player $25,000 this year if they stay eligible and stay on the team throughout the year is because of that kind of potential litigation, EEOC or whatever. And then what they basically have done is said, okay, we're going to give each player think there's 95 to 105 players. And then whatever you get on the NIL, that's on your own. Now, if they're saying that, well, those guys are getting their NIL money and we're not getting anything, it's free enterprise. You can't go after that, because it's basically saying the antitrust violation was shot down by the Supreme Court, which allows college players to go out and earn money on the side from sponsorships and whatever. Will basically shoot that down. I think what is going on here, Rock, is the limitation of the scholarship plus your stipend during the regular season. Now, the NIL is allowing you to go ahead and make that money, but if in the offseason, they're trying to say, we want to be able to make as much money as we can during the season while we're on scholarship as well, too. And what you're doing is limiting us by putting handcuffs on us for some of the things we can do or we can't do during the season or out of the season. And then you talked about it about a year and a half ago. Well, what about all the guys getting paid, and the other guys, bowing their neck, going, wait a second. So there's a lot of colleges that are helping those other individuals as far as getting them cash. I think I saw one quarterback is, it might have been Spencer Rattler at South Carolina. Spencer, what he's doing with his NIL money, he's getting his linemen and the rest of his offensive guys like watches or swag or whatever, just to kind of say, hey, thank you so much. Let me help share this money by gifts. Not giving them money, but giving them the gifts. So that doesn't surprise me, the EEOC or them filing a complaint with the EEOC. I know what the EEOC is going to find when colleges are providing them with monies, with either grant and aid, Pell Grants, or full ride scholarships in order for them to have an education.
So, Jack, you're not that far removed from college. I mean, Montana, I can't imagine there's a lot of NIL at all, right? I mean, was there anyone who was getting paid when you were there?
There's like tiny deals that are starting to go on right now. Montana State are starting to make these collectives. They call them NIL collectives, where like boosters and people can like donate for the team and not more like individual players and stuff like that. So I think that's what universities are starting to do to prevent that problem.
Yeah. ASU started that 6 months ago. They got $1 million raised.
Yep.
They're going to need a lot more money than that, but at least it's a start for them to go to football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball.
I want to know where it's going to go with, let's say, the bands. I mean, there's some great bands out there, and they're working just as hard as these athletes, right? I mean, they're practicing every morning, and they're part of the game.
Yeah.
They're in the game. They're doing their thing, halftime, and all that. Are they going to start getting paid?
Well, you got then you go the band, the cheerleaders, the this, the
exactly.
that.
But when does it? I mean, seriously. I mean, I can see. I can see the bandos. We used to call them bandos. The bandos being upset that hey, we're part of the college experience too. There's people like I remember the 110 band at Ohio U. I mean, after the band played at halftime, everybody left. It's bad. The team was so bad, but everybody wanted to see the band because the band was so good.
Yeah,
I mean, just like the band at Ohio State, and everybody talks about that band.
They're part of the entertainment factor. College football,
no question. That's what I'm saying. They're part of the game.
Yeah, until somebody steps up and goes down that road, I guess we'll never know if anybody has the right.
Cheerleaders, I mean, but I think the band. I mean, they put in as much time as the players do.
Yeah,
you can argue. I mean, there's probably some people out there. Oh, that's not true. But, like BS. You talk to some of these band guys. It's a full-time job.
If push came,
and they're on scholarship too.
Yeah, some of them are. If push came to shove, the argument coming back at them would be, okay, we're not generating any revenue from your band. We're generating revenue from the football players, and we're selling other football players. You are part of that. So at some point, do they receive? Maybe they'll get a contribution to the band, to the director of the band for instruments or stuff like that. Maybe, okay, here's $50,000. Because I know the athletic directors at these schools try to go ahead and they pump them money for uniforms and for instruments and for a lot of those kind of things. Anything above and beyond that, I think they'd have a very, very hard time to tap into that.
I bet if you could get that sound from Nick Saban, we're going to use it later, but I want to use it right now. If you can, let me know if you can get to that. So Nick Saban was not a fan of a reporter's question about the quality of competition. Ready. They have Louisiana Monroe this weekend, and it's about a minute and a half long. And listen to just Nick Saban being Nick Saban.
Well, but that's your opinion on quality of opponent. All right, it's not mine. I respect all the people that we play, and I respect winning and what you have to do to win. All right. So, and every player should not be focused on who they're playing against relative to their motivation, but every player should want to be the best player they can be. So why would it matter whether we're playing Texas or playing somebody else? That's how you get good. That's how you develop the right habits. That's how you're consistent. You know, I've told you guys more than once, when I was in the NFL, I watched players, I didn't know who they were playing against. I was just evaluating them. So that means when we play a team that's not as good as somebody else, you don't play as good. So you let the opponent determine how you play. You let the score determine how you play. You determine where you're playing. All right, that determines how you play. So when you get evaluated, what's somebody think? Oh, this guy plays pretty good at home. I don't think we'll draft him. Does that make sense? So I respect what it takes to win. Didn't I say this on Monday? What does what's your favorite in a game mean when you're favored by 20 points and you lose?
10 seconds.
Two teams did this week. What does it mean? It means the people favoring you either don't know what you're talking about or the players playing got affected by that.
Yeah, I love Nick.
I don't think I ever looked at a line when I was playing at Kansas State that affected me one way or the other. I mean, I know what he's saying. He's basically saying, look, we respect every opponent. We play our butts off no matter who it is, whether it's Bangor, Maine Tech, or Georgia, or LSU. And he seemed like he wanted to say I'm offended. Became sure to say I'm offended you would ask that because every team respects your attention first and foremost. He's alluding to App State, beating on Texas A&M, and Notre Dame getting beat. So I just, okay, Nick, I get it. But I think he's just trying to take the high road and show respect to Louisiana Monroe and not allowed to throw any shade on them and give them any motivation whatsoever to come out and, come out on Alabama.
He so hates doing press conferences. You can just feel it.
I don't think
him and Belichick, they're just both of them.
No, I think that he's such a big into recruiting. He understands that by him putting himself out there all the time helps him with his recruiting and saying the right thing. So I think when recruits hear him say, hey, look, I think there's some subliminal messages in there like, hey, when you play, we expect you to play hard. We expect you to, we don't care who the opponent is. We expect you, we're going to evaluate you week in and week out. That's a message to the recruits that he's recruiting. Yeah. I feel when I hear something like that.
I think that's a good point. Hey, make plans to watch all the football action at any of the 4 Twin Peaks locations here in the Valley. You have Scottsdale, Tempe, Glendale, and Phoenix. Man-size Blue Moon and Coors Light draft specials. That kicks off every Thursday, but then it kicks in over the weekend as well. And you can always sign up to win the custom backyard patio kit that we have right now. All you got to do is just text PEAKS to 55678. That's PEAKS to 55678. Well, if you love cheeseburgers, and who doesn't, you're going to want to hear the 72 Sold on This Day report, which is coming up next. This is one of the best deals ever if you like cheeseburgers. That's next.
This is The Herd. take you back.
If you travel to the past, that past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past.
A quick reflection on some of the more memorable moments in sports and pop culture. Time for your 72 Sold on This Day report. Get our price, a higher price at 72sold.com.
You guys are hot.
Come on, Hank, sing that song. Check it out. I'm the CASN, the OVA, and the rest is FLY. You see, I go by the code of the doctor of the mix. These reasons I'll tell you why. You see, I'm 6'1" and I'm tons of fun, and I guess
I could see you on the dance floor, Mitch.
Oh,
with the shoes to this.
Oh, man. Circa 1979, rookie year in Buffalo, over at the McKinley Park Inn, a nice lounge club they had there. Oh, man.
That's right.
Came out.
Rappers Like came out on this day, 1979.
Yeah, buddy,
September
man.
16th.
Yeah, rookie year.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That was the song they played you must have heard on the radio like 55 times a day.
Hey, on this day, 38 years ago, 1984, Miami Vice premiered. Don Johnson, Philip Michael Thomas as Crockett and Tubbs.
Great show.
Yeah, it was.
I was styling in those threads back in the day.
34 years ago today, 1988, Tom Browning of the Reds pitched the 12th perfect game in Major League Baseball history. And then 28 years ago, 1994, a federal jury ordered Exxon to pay $5 billion in damage in that oil spill.
That oil spill.
The Valdez oil spill. And think about $5 billion in 94.
Yeah.
What is that now here in 2022?
20 billion?
20, yeah.
Yeah, 20 easy.
Jeez. On this day, 2018, Patrick Mahomes, 23 for 28, 326 yards, 6 touchdown passes in the win over Pittsburgh. He almost did that last week against Arizona.
Yeah, that was just his second. It was really his first full year of starting, too.
And at that first year, he had 10 touchdown passes in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That was the most by any quarterback through 2 games in NFL.
I think Andy Reid silenced the critics on them picking him. When they already had Alex Smith as their quarterback, they're going, what are you doing? You already got Alex Smith. And they went, well, Alex may not be here long with the talent that this has. And Andy Reid just went, you wait till you see this young man.
NHL on this day locked out its players as the collective bargaining agreement expired. That was in 2012. And finally, 1989, Notre Dame ranked number 1, beat number 2 Michigan 24-19 in Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's when Rocket Ishmael steals the show by returning kickoffs of 88 and 92 yards for touchdowns. It was the second time that he had 2 kickoff returns in one game. He did it against Rice in 88.
The Rocket, you talked about that lockout by the NHL. The Yotes were just coming off that great playoff year too.
Yeah.
Rock. And we're sitting there going, oh, man, we're all excited, and this will be great. And they took the Kings to the wire and got beat, but all of a sudden you're locked out. And you're like, damn.
Hey, on this day is brought to you by 72 Sold. 72 Sold, America's leading home selling program. There's no better way to sell your home than 72 Sold. Get our price, a higher price at 72sold.com. It's National Guacamole Day.
Oh, I love guacamole.
Yes. But I'm kind of going ahead. We're not on the air on Sunday.
Right.
And Sunday is National Cheeseburger Day.
Oh, love it.
Yep. National Cheeseburger Day. Now, there are a bunch of places, including 3 big ones, where you can score a free burger.
Really?
On Sunday.
Okay, tell me, because as I'm coming home Sunday night, I will definitely stop in.
Here's what I got. McDonald's, what they did is they polled fans this week, and they decided to basically decide which burger they want to give away. Right?
All right.
And the double cheeseburger's got the most votes.
Okay.
So you get a free one this Sunday with any dollar purchase, and you got to go through the app, which kind of close. But
it's a catch.
Yeah.
I know how to apply an app for crying out loud.
All right, Burger King has a similar deal, but for regular cheeseburgers, if you order through their app.
Okay.
That one starts tomorrow, and it's going to run through Monday.
All right.
Okay. Now, Wendy's is giving you a free Dave single with cheese if you order something through their app through next Wednesday. Carl's Jr., they got a deal for their new rewards members. You'll get a free Famous Star or Western Bacon cheeseburger with a purchase if you just sign up. And then if you're already a member of Manuch, which I'm sure you are, existing members get $1 Famous Star if they buy one at full price.
Famous Stars are pretty damn good.
Yeah, so you don't need an app for that.
Okay, good. Glad to know that. I'm noting that.
Jack in a box.
Easy.
Has $2 jumbo jacks with purchase through the app. Smash Burger Manuch.
Yep.
Has one buy one get one deal on Sunday if you use the code BOGO22.
I like
there you have it.
Smash Burger. Nothing with Whataburger in there whatsoever, huh?
Didn't make the list.
Dang. Well, Smash Burger.
Overrated place anyway.
Well, I disagree with that wholeheartedly. But
I don't get it. Everybody out here seems to think that Whataburger's the best. And it's just not.
It's about the bun too.
In-N-Out's totally better.
In-N-Out's overrated.
I'm a McDonald's guy.
Disgusting.
Whataburger. It's about the bun.
It's the buns is what
soft
buns is like butter. It's a butter bun,
That's
right?
what I love about it. And then you got, but just In-N-Out, you don't eat a lot of stale buns. It's just overrated, I think. You got the flavor.
September 16th is the most common birthday, and the month of September has 10 of the most common birthdays of the entire year. Is that maybe New Year's Eve? New Year's Day? 9 months?
Yeah, I was just going to say.
I mean,
kind of falls in that category.
Right in there?
Yeah, September 3rd.
January, it's cold all over the country. Is that the time to do it? Yeah. A lot of people conceive then.
That's right. A lot of folks staying home at night, on the weekends. Date nights, been at home versus going out and about. Just too cold.
Yeah, I just.
But that whole New Year's Eve thing might have a lot to do with it, with that the celebration of the New Year. And, a lot of little something going on. I think that is part of it. A lot of great birthdays. Starts with September 3rd, Jax, by the way. Those great birthdays start.
Oh, yeah. They're always great. Yeah, for Manuch. Yeah, I forgot your birthday this year.
Yeah, it's all right, Rock.
No, it's not. I just remembered. I think I got you something. I don't know. I forgot.
You did. You sent me a good happy birthday wishes.
Yeah, but I usually get you something, I think. I think I got credit when I
You do.
sent you the
Yeah, you do. You got a lot of credit there. I think I owe you a few hats as well, too. So I think you're good to go.
Hey, Monday at Homestead Showroom Football. It used to be called Showroom Football. It is Monday Night Tailgate. Jackpot's at $300, and we'll be there again this Monday. Myself, Jax will be there. Manuch, you're off, but you'll be on the following week. We're doing football bingo. So, Jax, you better be ready. Football bingo. Jax got in trouble last week.
He did?
Yeah.
What happened? The rookie got in trouble?
Security came and everything.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So what happens is when we pull the name out, when you pull the name out, you get the microphone. And I was talking to some people, and so I said, let Jax kind of do his thing. And I said, throw him in the fire. So he's calling out this woman's name.
Right.
And he did it like 2-3 times.
More than that. But,
and she never heard it. Okay, so we pull another name because we just assumed that the person may have left.
Right,
There's a lot of people in there. So, I don't know, 15 minutes, half hour later, 3 suits came to our table and said, we have a complaint that one of the patrons heard her name get called, but, didn't get the money. It was like $25 she won. And I said, okay, what happened? And we kind of went through what I just said.
Yeah.
So literally, I just said, okay, we're not going to fight it. We just gave her $25, and I apologized, and I just said, Jackson's his first day. I said, it's our first game, and she was really nice after the fact. But the fact that she went to security
for $25,
for $25, goes to security, and then the suits. And I've never seen the suits. When you're in a casino. The suits they're in the back looking at cameras, right? They're not bugging us, in our show in the bar area.
Think of the movie Casino with them in the back looking at
exactly
tables, and they're watching the tailgate bash over there with Roc and Manuch and Jimmy B. And here's this kid over here, Jax. So did you do your 50 and 50 when you got home?
Can I say my side of the story now?
If you want.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
I said her name. I probably waited there for about 3 or 4 minutes or so. Okay.
Did you do the lap hollering her name around the whole
bar? That's what he didn't do.
I did not.
That's what I told him. I said, hey, you got to kind of get up from your chair.
Right. Go walk around and make sure that you holler at everybody.
Oh, I thought I was yelling, but apparently I wasn't.
Take the mic away. It is Jenny Stevens here. Be vocal, man. Otherwise, you got the suit to show up.
You will see the difference when you're there with me or you're there with Manuch.
Oh, brother.
Because it's a big difference. Manuch, he loves the people. Hour number 2 is coming up.
They love me.
Calling all sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Proudly sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing and is powered by the injury attorneys Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900 and always online at lernerandrowe.com.
Guys are hot.
Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
Today we are live from Wright Toyota in Scottsdale, right on the corner, right on the price, Wright Toyota, and always at wrighttoyota.com. We are also streaming on our Roc and Manuch Facebook page and YouTube page. Thanks to Jack's got that going, so you can check that out. And we're kind of in our infant stages of that, so if you see some challenges, say if it's not working, let us know, because you can chat right there.
Jack's doing a good job.
Yeah, so we're getting close there. But we are presented by Lerner & Rowe, voted the best personal injury law firm once again here in Arizona and in some other states as well. Kevin Rowe will join us in the 3 o'clock hour for his weekly picks. We got Scott Spreitzer coming up here at the bottom of the hour. But let's get right to what's our It's Your Call question of the day, which is brought to you by State 48. What Arizona Cardinals defender must have an outstanding performance this Sunday? What Arizona Cardinals defender must have an outstanding performance against the Raiders this Sunday? Is it Simmons, Collins, Baker, or the cornerbacks?
Boy, that's, you look at that and just go to @Roc and Manuch on our Twitter page. You know what? Simmons, I'm going to go with Simmons, guys. I just think that he's going to have to come out of his shoes and do a great job of covering Waller, and as far as making the tackles, just be very active. I like to see him kind of turn things around, kind of like what Chandler Jones did last year. The intensity impact he is. I'm going to go with Simmons as after the game he had last week to kind of turn things around and be that impactful guy on defense. And I know if he can shut down the tight end or not, but he's going to have one of those games. He's going to have to come out of his shoes and just be all over the place if that's how they're going to play him.
I think it's going to be the corners. I do, because of Waller and Devontae. I mean, I think Carr's going to go off.
Renfro.
They got a good team, so we'll see what happens on that one. But again, that's our Twitter. Our Twitter handle is @Roc and Manuch. Intern Barney's making a presence. He doesn't have a job, I guess. He's got all this time to come over.
He's got to hang out because he's going on a big trip here this next week. The world traveler that he's going to be. So
he's not going to be at Monday Night Football.
No, he'll be there. Yeah, but he's had a hard last 6 months doing a whole lot of nothing. So he's got to go take a big vacation.
He's been showing up on Mondays just for a dinner,
just to hang out.
No, just to eat.
Oh, okay.
Because he didn't even leave a tip.
Nothing.
And he's like you, Manuch. He gets like a dessert too.
Absolutely.
Like, you get the meal. Can I have some extra chicken on that salad?
Absolutely.
And I got to pay for it.
Well, I tip very, very good.
When someone takes me out, I never take advantage of it.
I don't take advantage of it. I just have a regular meal. Just a regular meal. Hey, we'll speak for food. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm all over that.
Yeah. Let's get to our top story this hour.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
I will stay with the Cardinals as Andy Isabella and Rondell Moore will be out. They've been ruled out for the game on Sunday in Las Vegas. Looks as though J.J. Watt will play. He was on the field practicing, so they'll be good to see him out there. But, man, you don't have many guys to throw to now.
Yeah, it looks like Andre Bocelli's going to be moved up a little bit. They've signed a couple guys to practice squads. It looks like you got your 4 tight ends. It looks like McBride will probably be another healthy scratch. But, yeah, right now it's pretty much Brown, Dortch, Bocelli, and Zach Ertz and the other 2 tight ends are going to have to step it up. AJ Green, yeah, don't forget about AJ. And I just don't understand that the timing still looks off between him and Kyler Murray. After 2 years, you would think these guys would be on the same page. I think that now inside short yardage or inside the 10 or inside the 20, they're going to go more toward Green. Bigger body, guys like 6'3", 6'4". The corners for the Raiders aren't that big. But, yeah, they're going to have to step up. And especially the guys you were counting on with Rondale Moore is being that guy, we're using him out of the backfield as one of your home run hitters to help you stretch the field. Andy Isabella had a great preseason and plays one regular season game. He's got a bad back now. So they just can't keep guys healthy. And but wouldn't it be like the Cardinals, Rock? They go into Las Vegas, banged up, and they win like 42-7 or something along that night. Just it happens in the NFL like that. Probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. But that will thank you for a lot of fans.
But there were a lot of upsets this past week.
Sure were,
especially the early games. There were some big time upsets in that.
But there's this team's the most injured, questionable out IR team in the National Football League, and you got your horses out, and then DeAndre Hopkins. Oh yeah, by the way, he's suspended for the first 6 games. Going to be very difficult. So I think they rely on the running game, rely on Connors and Eno Benjamin coming out of the backfield catching, maybe more slip screens. The screen game I think is going to have to be vitally important when you don't have your home run hitters on the from your receiving corps.
The latest on Robert Sarver, it was confirmed today that PayPal announced it would not renew its sponsorship contract with the team if Robert Sarver remains involved after his suspension is over.
Well, there's the first one. What's the next shoe that's going to drop? Who's the next sponsor? You look at the they
have a lot of them.
They've got a lot of them. The city.
I mean, you got some really big ones. I mean, obviously Footprint. And I think they have AT&T. They have Fry's. There's a lot, and I hope that doesn't happen.
Well, and
you never want to see sponsors.
Yeah, you don't
leave, but
well, if they don't, if the guy that's running the team is not adhering to your ethics and morals and what have you, then why support that? And I think that's what PayPal is saying. John Najafi, one of the minority owners, has saying if Robert Sarver continues, he needs to be banned or out for this Suns team after his suspension. Now, what's also come down, the NBA PA executive director, Tamika Tremiglio, says she's speaking on behalf of the NBA players on Friday, this late morning. The Suns' majority owner, Robert Sarver, given the 1-year suspension, should be banned for life. And that's the latest coming from the NBA Players Association. So they have spoken. She speaks on behalf of them. She said, we are absolutely clear from the findings that there are the report. We do not want him in that position moving forward. So there's your representative for the Players Association speaking. The players have spoken. They don't want him in after suspension. He should be banned for life. So the hits keep coming against Robert Sarver as this thing is fluid and continues to move down the road.
And now politics is getting involved. Phoenix mayor, she's asked the city to investigate any potential actions that could have something to do with people that are working for the Suns.
Yep.
She's putting her nose in it, and with all her council members. I'm anxious to see if they're going to put. Do they need to do that? Do they need to spend taxpayers' money to put an investigation together?
Well, if they investigate, I think what they want to see is if Sarver remains, what actions they could take if he remains as the majority owner. So what they're looking at is, and you were talking to us earlier, Rock, that there's a lot of clauses in these contracts that specify behavior, ethics, whatever, that would pretty much make that contract void. So they'll take a look at it. She'll have her attorneys look at it. If he continues to come back, what action can they take to make sure he doesn't come back?
I don't understand why the mayor needs to get involved in this. This is an investigation that's been done. He got suspended. I think reality is he's not going to be the owner after this year. I think it's pretty safe to say it's going down that road.
Yeah.
You mentioned he owns 35%. Mm-hmm. The other minority owners will probably buy him out, or
if he wants to sell.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that wants to ante up $1 billion.
But Rock, everybody wants their pound of flesh. Everybody wants their pound. They want to weigh in.
The mayor could just, work on the transit system or something. I mean,
I agree.
I just don't understand why they need to spend money to do that.
It's politics. She wants to show her constituents that she's concerned, because look at all the females that were wronged by Sarver in this, and the minorities and all this. Her constituency is pretty much those voters out there that they want to make sure she's chiming in just to show them she cares that these egregious acts should be more or have more penalty with that. So it's politics. They're going to weigh in and give their 2 cents. just to say, oh, good that she's weighing in and she's got our best interest at hand. And there might be some of those individuals that live in Phoenix proper.
I'm okay with the statement. All right, just come out with a statement. I understand she's extremely disappointed and this and that, and it's unacceptable and things like that. Okay, all right, that's fair. But to have to put an investigation together, if that's what happens,
that's a little
extreme.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a little. Why
do you think these victims want to keep getting want this thing to keep growing and their names come out and that?
I don't know why. The investigation's done.
I know.
Here's the report. Just respond to the report. You've made your statement. Okay, now where do you go from here? Where can you legally go from here to go after the Suns organization or Robert Sarver? Or do you want to get in line like everybody else that says he needs to sell the team or doesn't come out? Whatever, just get in line. You made your statement. So, yeah, I agree with you, Rock. Don't spend any more money. The investigation's been done. They worked on this thing for over, 14, 15 months. There it is. What can your investigators add that hasn't already been put on there?
I'm with you. That's when I saw that, I was just like, oh, geez. Hey, what's the game you're calling tonight?
We'll be calling the Highland Desert Edge game. Going to be a very, very good game. The guys at Desert Edge, excellent team. Highland, excellent team.
Where are the schools at?
Desert Edge is out there at I-10 in Avondale on Buckeye Road, off of Buckeye. And the game
so many new schools, seems like every year when I ask you, every Friday what game you're calling, I'm like, Desert Edge, where's that? Never heard of that school.
Back in the day, I'd say 10 years ago, it was basically on the edge of town. Now that you got white tanks and developing, And then Highland High School, where the game
I've heard of Highland.
Highland High School will be out there. Bertrand Berry's son, a senior defensive lineman.
Really?
Yeah.
So you got to try to go to Notre Dame like Bertrand Berry did?
I don't know. I'll track down Bertrand at the game and see what if that legacy continues at Notre Dame. He's got that kind of ability. He's a very good football player, so this should be a very good game. It's got a 5A versus the 6A, and Highland won it all last year as they beat Chaparral in the state title. Desert Edge lost in the semis last year in the 5A.
Hey, tomorrow on Take the Points, powered by the CAC Sports Bar at Casino Arizona, the guys will talk football with Petros Papadakis. Who'll be in Tucson to call the Wildcats game tomorrow night. And one of the best handicappers next to our own Scott Spreitzer, Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com will be on. So check them out tomorrow. Mike Gross, Mike Bauer, and Jax from 11 to 1 right here on Fox Sports 910 and on the iHeart Radio app. Coming up, the top 5 games you must watch tomorrow. You must watch, and then we'll catch up with Scott Spreitzer. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
And Appalachian State has done it again. They come to College Station.
I have the Saban bite if you need it.
Take down the number 6 team in the country.
Last week was awesome.
It was great.
There were so many great college football games. The ratings were just off the charts. I mean, off the charts. And I think it's going to be the same this week. I mean, when you have a game to start off, and it's Alabama, Texas, the start East Coast 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock for us. And then all the upsets and the wild games and how these games came down. I mean, the Alabama game was tremendous. And then it just kept going. I mean, it was just the game after game, and then the upsets and Georgia Southern, a road upset at Nebraska. The coach gets fired, and it was awesome. And I hope it'll be the same tomorrow, which I'm sure it will.
Well,
be.
you get Marshall winning in Notre Dame.
That was that one.
I'm like, what?
Washington State over Wisconsin.
Yes.
Tennessee over Pittsburgh. Kentucky over Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, the overtimer with BYU and Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were so many great ones, but there's 5 games that I put down that I think are the games to watch for tomorrow. Arizona's got North Dakota State.
Yes, yeah.
NAU's got North Dakota.
Yes.
And then Arizona's got Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, Arizona State.
Excuse me. So it should be all wins for local teams.
You would hope.
NAU's got a tough one.
Well, North Dakota State's pretty good, Rob.
Yeah, I think they're 23.
Yeah, they're pretty damn good. So it'll be a good game. Hopefully, U of A.
But my games that I have here that I think are a must, and that number 6 Oklahoma at Nebraska,
renewing the rivalry.
First game after firing Scott Frost. Interim Mickey Joseph got a tough task ahead of him, no question there. Brent Venables, of course, formerly of Kansas State, and he gets to take this game over or this team over. And I'm anxious to see if it's going to be a huge blowout or the kids from there in Lincoln step it up. And the thing about Nebraska, I don't understand. I don't know why they're not getting the butt guts like they had before.
Well, they got the
they
talent.
Used to always win on the line.
Yeah, they did. They can score. Mark Whipple's the offensive coordinator. They're scoring, and they can't stop anybody. And that was going to be the culprit coming into this season. They talked about it. They lost a lot of their defensive guys to the National Football League. They don't have that, but they're scoring. They just can't stop anybody. And with that whole thing, having a brand new coach come in, a new excitement, they're going to be jacked up, Brock. They're going to be fired up, and they're going to be jacked up. And
Nebraska winning, Nebraska having success is good for college football.
Oh, I agree,
no question.
Bring back the old black shirts and all that. The team they had last year with the blacks were really good. They just have any offense.
Yeah, tough. You got to probably be at a bar, be at Twin Peaks for 12:30. Fox and CBS. You got number 12 BYU at number 25 Oregon. After that thrilling upset, number 9 Baylor in overtime, as we mentioned, it's time to consider BYU as a possible college football playoff contender if they can get by Oregon. And if they do, only number 10 Arkansas remains as a significant obstacle standing in their way, that being BYU, of having an undefeated season.
I think the thing
they got a good schedule. They're playing good teams.
Well, the last 3 years, Rock, they've had some great non-conference great schedules. They're not afraid to duck anybody.
No, they're not.
They played. We watched them play last year against ASU. They win that game. I mean, you look at the teams, you go, wow. If there's a year, if they get by Oregon at Oregon, by the way, then you go, okay. And then Arkansas is a much improved team as well, too.
That's a game that I'm not touching, but hopefully Scott Spreitzer, we can ask him about that game.
But, I mean, you look at BYU, they've got all the weapons. They got the defense, quarterback, receiver. I mean, they're set. So it's just a matter of they can go on the road and win consistently with these top-ranked teams.
Getting into our top 5 games you got to watch tomorrow. At the same time, 12:30, this one's on Channel 5. Number 22, Penn State at Auburn. Gotta love that.
Sure.
Big Ten, SEC. I mean, Penn State barely got by Ohio U last week. I mean,
barely,
they just barely got by them. I mean, my Bobcats. I mean, it was they got killed.
Well, by the way, my quarterback at Parker Navarro got some reps for your Ohio Bobcats. He got a few reps, and they think they played all 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
they were down by. They were down, so they played him, and I'm glad he got a few reps.
It was close for the first 5 minutes of that game.
First 10, by the way.
The 4:30 game, I like this game. Michigan State at Washington. Michigan State is now ranked number 11. and I'm anxious to see what. We haven't talked a lot about Washington at all.
Yeah.
This is their first test. So I'm anxious to see if they're going to be able to hold serve, so to speak, and see if they're going to have some success against a Big Ten title contender.
MSU's a dog in this. I mean, they're the 11th ranked team, and they're the dog going to Washington.
I don't get that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
We've seen that several times this year, Rock. The first couple weeks, we've seen higher ranked. I mean, look at Baylor. They were a dog going into BYU, and they were 9th ranked at the time last week. And BYU was, 11th ranked? And that was somewhat of a pick. It went down the wire. But Baylor was a 3-point dog, higher ranked 3-point dog on the road.
The game of the night, 6 o'clock, ESPN, number 13, Miami at number 24, Texas A&M. Now, Appalachian State's upset win over Texas A&M last week moved College Game Day from College Station to Boone, North Carolina. How about that? That's pretty cool. But we'll see what Miami's all about in this one as well. But that's at 6 o'clock. So those are your top 5 games I think you should watch tomorrow. When it comes to the Pac-12, pretty good schedule for the most part. I mean, it's laughable. Pac-12 Network starts it off at 11 o'clock tomorrow. South Alabama at UCLA. Cal's at Notre Dame. Cal comes in 2-0. They've won 5 of their last 7 non-conference road game wins. I mean, they have beat Northwestern, Texas, North Carolina, BYU, and Ole Miss. And the last 8 non-conference road games for Cal have all been decided by 8 points or less. That's going to be a good game. We talked about BYU, Oregon. Colorado is at Minnesota. You got Pac-12, Big Ten. I love seeing that. Colorado State's at Washington State. Washington State's 2-0, coming off their first road win ever against a ranked Big Ten team, and that was Wisconsin. Michigan State at Washington, we talked about. Montana State, 2-0 against the Beavers. Oregon State, 2-0.
Look out!
And they're playing that game at Providence Park in Portland.
Yeah, I think when we talked to Ted Thompson, play-by-play voice for the Pac-12 Network, he said, don't sleep on Oregon State, folks. They could be turning that corner. Could be that potential dark horse.
San Diego State, they got number 14, Utah. That's the night game. That's 8 o'clock on ESPN2. Fresno State at UCLA. At USC. And, you never know about Fresno State. There are a lot of kids that wanted to go to USC that are at Fresno State. And that one is at 7:30 on Fox. And then the last game of the night, well, there's 2 of them, both at 8 o'clock. Eastern Michigan at ASU and North Dakota State at Arizona. Arizona has won 24 of their last 25 home games against non-conference opponents. That's impressive.
Yeah, I think U of A, they should win that game up there. I think in ASU will have a good scrimmage against Eastern Michigan. I don't say that a little tongue-in-cheek. But, hey, next weekend, if ASU can get a lot of stuff implemented as they get ready for Utah, who comes in next weekend, and they can come out of that game unscathed without anybody getting hurt and get themselves ready, that's going to be the true litmus test for the Sun Devil team.
And for Arizona Wildcats, this defense is pretty good, guys. I mean, they forced 5 turnovers already this season. They had 6 all last season, and they held Mississippi State last week to 40 yards rushing. That's pretty impressive. But watch out, North Dakota State. They've won 9 of the last 11 FCS championships.
That legacy and tradition continues. If DeLar can come out a little better than he was for the Cats at quarterback, he was a little bit all over the yard in that first half. They're going to need him to step up and have a good game.
They have won 6 straight. They've won 6 straight against FBS schools and are 9-3 against them since 1980. This is the first meeting with a Pac-12 school, that being North Dakota State. First time,
2 minutes.
First game since 2016 when they beat Iowa.
I remember they used to come into Manhattan when Kleiman just started as a North Dakota State coach, he's now at K-State, and we go, okay, we got that game, and they would put the whooping on Bill Snyder teams. We went, damn, that's a good team, and then they would go on and win the titles, and then they'd come back and they do a home and home, and K-State, you think it's got this team, oh, we got this. They beat him again. I'm like, damn. So the Cats went, okay, Snyder retired. If you can't beat him, join him. We got him as the head coach now, and hopefully my Cats can keep things going.
If you need a new grill, well, we got one for you. You have a chance to win one right now. Just text Peaks to 55678. That's Peaks to 55678. And you'll be entered to win a customized backyard grill patio set that intern Barney will actually put together at your house for you.
Oh, thank God.
So you don't have to worry about all that. It's all taken care of.
Oh,
He'll
man.
deliver it, everything. It's all courtesy of Twin Peaks, Blue Moon, and Coors Light. You can enter daily. Standard message and data rates apply. That's Peaks to 55678. Well, it is week 2 of the National Football League, week 3 in college, and we're going to catch up with Scott Spreitzer from DocSports.com. That'll break down 4 games for us next. We'll get into 2 pro and 2 college. We're going to do BYU, Oregon, Miami, Texas A&M, and then we'll do Eagles hosting the Vikings on Monday night. By the way, Monday night, there's 2 games. There's a 4:30 and a 5:30. We'll be hosting the 5:30, which is the Eagles and Vikings, and then we'll get his take on Cards and Raiders. That's all coming up as we continue from Wright Toyota. It's Roc and Manuch.
On Fox Sports 910.
All right, let's get to it. Scott Spreitzer joins us now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. We got 2 pro and 2 college. We're going to do BYU, Oregon, Miami, Texas A&M, Vikings at Eagles, and Cards at Las Vegas. The Raiders. We'll start with BYU and Oregon. Scott, I mean, this is a tough one, man. We're sitting here talking about this game right before you came on, and we're scratching our heads. We're not really sure where to go on this one. Is BYU the real deal? Because you look at their schedule down the road, and if they get by Oregon, all they have left is really Arkansas on their calendar, and they could go undefeated. And we may be talking college playoff with this team.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it is a tough handicap because they're laying 3.5 the Oregon Ducks in this game, and that line would have been at least a point higher if BYU loses a 50-50 game last week, to Baylor in overtime, you consider basically when teams get to overtime, it is almost a 50-50 deal. So, they gain a little bit of I guess, a little nudge from the bookmakers because they won that game. And of course, Oregon has been hampered a little bit in the lines because of what happened against Georgia. And I don't know that I fault Oregon too much. I don't even know if I put a whole lot of credence into that because Georgia's going to do that between the hedges to just about everybody that plays between the hedges against the Bulldogs, and they were no match in that game. So I obviously factor that game into the handicapping, but I don't go too crazy with it because, they're in a league of their own almost, the Bulldogs. I mean, maybe Bama's almost there, but Georgia's in a league of their own right now. When I look at this game, I'm thinking, all right, BYU's banged up at wide receiver. The offense, didn't do much last week. The Baylor defense held them to 20 points in regulation. And Oregon's defense, I have basically power rated even with Baylor's defense for the most part. Again, not putting too much into that Georgia game. And I will say this about, Oregon. They got blasted in that first game. They come back to it last week. But, they did actually hold on to the ball for half of that game against Georgia. They just got beat up on those first, half dozen possessions when Georgia was in another mode. But I do believe that Oregon's going to get the win here and the cover. I think that the line value lies with them because, like I said, if Baylor beats BYU last week in overtime, you're probably getting 4.5 with BYU right now instead of 3.5. And I think that's kind of a significant move. The one concern I have, guys, and I don't mean to be mean to him, but, Bo Nix is not exactly known as Big Game Bo for the right reasons. And whenever he's in a big game, close line and all that, he just seems to struggle. And that's a concern. But I don't think BYU has enough offense to win this game against the Ducks.
All right, Scott, you look at number 13, Miami, number 24, Texas A&M. It looks like A&M is favored by 6 in this game here. I don't know what the hell happened down there at College Station last weekend. Good for App State. But I got to tell you what, Miami, good, solid team. Speaking of Oregon, former Oregon head coach, getting the show and flipping the script quick down there in Hurricane Land.
Yeah, I like what's going on with Miami and the way they're playing and turning things around. And as far as A&M, you just had a rough time getting to 100 yards against a team that gave up 63 points the previous week to North Carolina.
Yes.
And, they made a quarterback change. A&M laying 6 here, by the way, in this game. But they made the quarterback change. It's been announced that Max Johnson is going to play for the Aggies this week, or going to start. And, you could kind of see the warning signs the previous week because they couldn't run the football against Sam Houston State. They beat them 31-0, but they couldn't run the football. They basically ran for about 3 yards per carry. I think they gained a grand total of 110 yards on the ground. So through 2 games, A&M isn't even averaging 100 yards per game on the ground. So they go from Haynes King to Max Johnson. You guys remember him, the former LSU quarterback, who's going to jump into this one. But their top running back struggled against Sam Houston. He struggled last week. And then the Miami passing attack has been, pretty darn good thus far. I think we got the better quarterback in Tyler Van Dyke. We got a coach who might not be better, and he might be, but the bottom line is he's in a much better situation than Jimbo is right now. And A&M is not going to be forgiving talking about the 12th man. If they come out there clunking things around a little bit, they'll turn on this team in a heartbeat, as everybody's seen. I also like the Miami ground game with Parrish, averaging almost 6 yards per carry. They've been running the ball without any problem at all. I know the level of competition goes up at Kyle Field, but I think Miami keeps it close and hangs this number, which again is 6.
He's Scott Spreitzer. You can always follow on Twitter at Scott Wins, part of DocSports.com. All right, Scott, let's talk NFL with the Eagles and Vikings, both 1-0, both contenders, I think, in the conference. But Eagles put up 38 points last week, but they also gave up 35. And Vikings, of course, took care of the Packers. How do you like this one?
Well, I tell you what, I ended up going 3-1 so far in the NFL through last night. And the one loss was a team that I think could represent the NFC if they can get their defense together, which would be Eagles. I also had the Vikings last week, so that was one of the wins. And in this game, as the two teams now match up against each other, I'm sitting there and I'm going, why do we always rip Kirk Cousins when the guy's on a run that's got a 35-7 touchdown to INT ratio? Aren't there about 150 quarterbacks trying to make the NFL and in the NFL that would take that in a heartbeat? So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, all right, the places where Philly struggled, and of course they were up 17 in the fourth, they got backdoored, but they struggled against the ground game. And Minnesota's got Dalvin Cook. And if that offensive line, which played well last week, gives Kirk Cousins time, he can kind of pick apart that Philly defense. And again, I'm a big Philly guy this year. I really think they got a great chance to represent the NFC, but they got to short things up on the defensive side of the football. And with the way DeAndre Swift ran all over them in the season opener, I don't want to overreact to that too much. But Detroit got a lot of those yards before the garbage time, and they put the first 21 points that they scored on the board. They were moving the ball up and down the field. That's a little bit worrisome. So I actually think here's what I'm going to do with Minnesota. I'm not thinking this is what I'm doing, but I'm teasing Minnesota up to +8, and I'm tying Minnesota to New Orleans teased up to +8.5. So a 2-team 6-point teaser, Minnesota +8 to the Saints +8.5. I don't see Philly blowing this team off the field.
Eagles gave up 181 yards on the ground last week.
Yeah. You talk about shoring it up in the Lions, and I got to believe too, Scott, the Lions are going to be much improved. Coach Campbell's doing things he wants to do. Last game on the docket here, Cardinals coming up to your neck of the woods there, taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Last time I looked, was Raiders -5.5. Has that changed much, if any, especially with some of the injuries the Cardinals have? Isabella's going to be out. Rondell Moore's going to be out again. Pugh, questionable. Does that change much one way or the other?
Still sitting at 5.5, totals 51.5. And I was kind of like waiting and thinking, do I want to get involved with this? Because I think the line will go up. And I really do believe that if folks, because of, the Las Vegas casinos with a home team now, you're going to see people flocking to the books in Las Vegas over the next 48 hours. And they're going to be betting on Las Vegas with their hearts a lot of times.
Sure.
So there's a chance this gets to 6. And I'm thinking if I can get 6, I actually might take a shot with Arizona. What's held me off thus far is obviously those injuries that you mentioned. And I look at the Raiders, and I just think they're slightly overvalued. I went against them last week. We got the win with the Chargers. And I think that the Derek Carr situation right now, where he's trying to force things almost like pressure's on. We got a great team around me. We got excellent skill players. We got, my old friend Devontae Adams from Fresno State, and we've been working out together every week for 10 years, which he has, even though they've been on separate teams. Waller's out there, the tight end, the best tight end potentially in football. But I don't like the way Derek Carr played last week, and I had a feeling that the Chargers defense would confuse him a little bit. He threw 3 picks. So if I can get 6 guys, I might jump in here on Arizona, despite the fact that they don't have a killer pass rush, which is what kind of messed up with Derek Carr last week, and also because of those injuries. It's like on the fringe of being a play right now in Arizona. I won't lay it with the Raiders. It'll be Arizona at +6 or nothing.
And Scott, to your point, I think that Carr's a little enamored with his former teammate, 17 targets and 10 catches.
Yeah.
You got Renfro, you got Waller. I mean, I can go on and on and on. I just thought he was
target Renfro, right? I mean, my gosh. Give a few throws.
Exactly. And I think to your point, I think that, that sometimes is the blessing and the curse to have that. Go, I got the new toy. I can go. And sometimes it can be overused. Hey, one more here with Nebraska, with the big changes up there, and you're very well been a Nebraska Cornhusker fan. You are. This game in Lincoln, coaching change, methodology change, whatever it is. Oklahoma goes there at Nebraska's getting +11. Do you touch that because of the circumstances surrounding that game?
I'm not. Before the season, I was planning on playing Nebraska.
Yeah.
They almost beat Oklahoma in Norman last year, but I think Nebraska last year would have beaten Nebraska this year by a couple of touchdowns because last year they actually played a little bit deep.
Yes.
And they don't play. The offense has been fine this year, but the defense stinks on ice. And gap responsibility. I mean, my gosh, they have no clue. It's not a hard thing. You don't have to be a math major to keep your responsibility in the gaps, the yay gap and such, and where this guy's going to play and where I need to line up. It's crazy to see how out of place they are. And obviously, it's Shenander's fault, the big defensive guru for this team and the defensive line coach. But Scott Frost signed off on this.
Yes.
And so that's why he had to go. Listen, I'm rooting for Mickey Joseph to do well. Mickey Joseph's a great guy. The players love him, the new interim coach. And I want to see him land the job. He's another former Husker quarterback, as you guys know. But this line has gone from 16.5 Sunday morning to 11.5 after Frost was fired.
Jeez.
So if you think Mickey Joseph is 5 points better than Scott Frost, and we have never seen Mickey Joseph
3 minutes
head coach, I don't know. But I will say this: the summer market at Oklahoma around a 4-point favorite.
Jeez.
Guys, I just got to kick back and watch this. If it gets ugly early, I'm watching another game. I'm just going to say that. But I will not put my money on Nebraska until they show me that they can tackle. Real quick note: Frost in spring since he's been there, that sounds funny. Frost and Spring, like I'm. but Scott Frost and Spring ball, he doesn't tackle. He doesn't have his team out there tackling. And what do these teams do? They miss tackles all the time. Last year, the year before, this year, he doesn't even have tackling on the field during the season in practice, as much as you would like. And Mickey Joseph comes in and he goes, hey, man, this is tackle football. We're hitting, we're tackling. We've got responsibility among the players. So he's seeing all the right things, and he's a big-time disciplinarian and holds players accountable. That was probably Frost's biggest issue, the lack of tackling in practice and the fact that he really didn't hold individual players accountable.
Got to squeeze one more in. Michigan State 3.5. They're getting 3.5 at Washington. Right? How are they an underdog on the road after being ranked?
I agree with you, man. I'm like, I get it with Washington being better than last year. They had that horrible nightmare season, and they say, okay, out with the old, in with the new as far as coaches are concerned. But I'm not sure they've made up enough ground to be laying 3.5 points to Michigan State. And the Spartans, listen, I don't think they're, all that. I mean, they're probably an 8 or 9 win team, but I love an underdog from a Power 5 conference that knows how to win, and they can run the football extremely well, and they can stop the run extremely well. That's Sparty. And as far as Washington is concerned, there's no way. They might come out and win tomorrow night, or Saturday night. But the bottom line is that I cannot lay 3.5 with a team that lost to Montana last year, that lost 7 of the last 8 games, that had a coaching change, and has played nobody thus far. One game against Kent State and the Portland State game, they got outrushed in the Kent State game. And not by a lot, but they got outrushed. Kent State averaged about 4 yards per carry. It's kind of scary with Michigan State coming to town being able to run the football.
Yeah, I think going to Sparty.
Hey, real quick, Scott, when you were breaking down Nebraska, was that a fan, Scott Spreitzer, talking, or was that a handicapper? I'm just curious, because we're here for you, brother. Rock and I, we're here for you, okay?
Little Husker rehab.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, good luck this weekend, Scott. Thanks, boss.
Just remember this, guys. Better dead than sooner red.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Good stuff. Hey, make sure you tune in tomorrow for the only local sports gambling show in Arizona. Take the Points, presented by Casino Arizona, live from the sports book in the CAZ Sports Bar. Bauer, Gross, Jax, they got you every Saturday from 11 to 1 as they give you what they call uncensored sports betting opinions and analysis and some advice. I'm never taking advice from Bauer. Now, maybe Jackson and Gross, but not Bauer. That's tomorrow, 11 o'clock, right here on Fox.
If you were smart, you would not, Rock.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes, I won't bet that. But I do bet. I bet you can't guess the state that has the most confrontational drivers. It's our Valley Chevy Dealers Random Facts of the Day. It's next.
Wake up with The Drive. Jody Ayler, Monday from 6 to 10 on Fox Sports 910 and on our free Random Fact of the Day with Roc and Manuch on Fox Sports 910.
All right, Random Fact of the Day is brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers. Your Valley Chevy dealers serving the Valley for over 80 years. ValleyChevy.com. All right. Speaking of drivers, a road rage, say that 10 times, survey has found that this particular state is the most confrontational when it comes to their drivers.
Road
what
rage.
State, what state would that be? If either one of you get this,
what state?
Buying you lunch.
Road rage. Let's see here. I turned you up there, Jackson.
Is it a popular state? Or is it?
See, it depends. He's probing. It would be a popular state if you're from there. I was born in Philadelphia and grew up in South Jersey. Is Jersey considered a popular state?
Is it a very unsuspecting state?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not giving you guys lunch if you're going to take all these clues.
I'm going to say I'll go California. I'll go California.
How about you?
I'm going to go New York.
Okay, Ben?
It's got to be a state that we're not really like thinking of. So it's got to be some. Let's go like Colorado or something like that.
So close. Utah.
Can I have another guess?
Really?
Utah.
Yeah, Utah.
How about Utah? Yeah, Utah was number one. How about that?
A lot of angry people on the roads up there, huh?
And then it went Missouri, Colorado, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Nevada, Maryland, Indiana, Washington, and Delaware. On the flip side, the least was North Dakota. They have cars up there.
They do.
Pennsylvania was number 2. Michigan, Florida, New York, Texas, Virginia, and Georgia.
I think California is good for car chases. You see one from California like every day. They got car chases here, carjackings, or all that kind of stuff.
How about that?
Utah.
Yeah.
Folks up there angry. They get the hell out of my way.
Hey, a piece of Michael Jordan's Last Dance just made sports history. Jack showed to me yesterday. The legendary jersey of Michael Jordan's Game 1 of the '98 final sold for $10.1 million. Wow. How about that?
You got to have so
most expensive game-worn sports memorabilia ever sold, and the most expensive Michael Jordan item ever sold.
Well, maybe 5-10 years that guy sells it for $12 million or something.
I got to tell you, the memorabilia is hot. I mean, we talked about the Mickey Mantle card last week. It was $12.6 million. That card went for.
Yes,
12.6.
And highest paid before that was Ty Cobb. Before that, and then the Honus Wagner card.
That card, yeah, but nothing's hit the $12 million.
No, not whatsoever. Those are people with just silly, stupid money,
like Tom Brady.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. CNN's reporting that him and Giselle are indeed suffering some marital issues and
marital woes. They're
living separately now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You think he calls it a day before the season's over to patch that bad boy up?
I do. If the team's not winning.
Oh, there's a
team's
caveat there.
Winning, yeah, he's gonna retire early.
You know what? I think he retired. He could halfway through the year to get back. She'd probably give him that ultimatum and say, "Look, here's the deal. You said you retired and then you unretired. Where are we at?"
She was in an interview. Giselle did an interview and said that Tom, it had to do with Tom coming out of retirement. She says, quote, "This is a very violent sport. I have my children and I like them. I like him to be more present."
That's a shot across the bow. I like you to be a father to your children. He's even admitted. He said, "Hey, look, when I'm dialed in during football season, I'm dialed in. I spend what little time I can." Giselle kind of tags. She's in. I think she's been fine with it for the many years they've been married. But now she's probably like, "Look, you keep getting banged up. I want to make sure you're around. You can have your wits about you. And when you're in your 50s and 60s and 70s, I want you to be able to help raise these kids."
Hey, Amazon and Apple have both passed on media rights for Live Golf. So we are hearing now that ESPN, CBS, NBC, and Fox have all said no. Now Amazon and Apple have said no. there's not a lot of options left.
So you think
I don't know what's left. I mean, all the people out there that really love to live golf. I mean, I don't know where you're watching it. I mean, I can't watch golf on my phone.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I mean, that's it. And it's like, where are you going to go? I mean, you're going to. I mean, somebody's going to take it.
Yeah.
I mean, a small network that's struggling, like maybe CNN should take it. Yeah, their ratings are dirt. They're garbage. No, but I'm kidding there. But there's got to be something out there.
Hey,
Pluto
and Pluto is did a lot of the the Big Sky games over the last couple of years. You go to that particular one. I think that when you hear those turning them down, I wonder if it's more of the conscience that they have in reference to the Saudi Arabians and that the blood money a lot of people talk about, and how that would reflect on their network. So I commend them. And Greg Norman, who leads Live Golf, has said we're not going to back down toward the PGA or anybody else and try to be buddy with them or work with them. That came out, I think, late yesterday.
You just got to. They don't need the money, obviously, but there's got to be some kind of media rights deal that's got to happen. I want to watch it. I mean, I do. I have no problem with it. I would love to sit on a Sunday afternoon, when it's not football season, and take my nap and put golf on. Right? I mean, there's something to that.
Lay on the couch first and turn the golf turn on, and then it goes off sooner or later. Well, these team formats that they have, that like the big tournament they're going to have, where over $50 million is going to be shelled out, and I think that the last foursome who ends up in last place is going to they'll divvy up, I think, $1 million a piece. Something like that. But I think that folks are going to be curious. Some of these players that you'll lose track of that you saw on the PGA Tour, if you want to watch them once in a while or watch this team play and see how they do it, for me, it's somewhat intriguing how they're going to do it. I mean, but if you got to go stream and go here and go there and you don't know where they're going to be at. So I got to imagine if a TNT or TBS turned them down yet. I don't know if that's happened. I know they wanted Charles to be part of that if they were to pick him up. I think that would have happened if Charles would have said, yeah, I'll be dialed in, whether TNT would have wanted.
Charles isn't bigger than the network.
He's not. I know that. But, I mean, he's like their darling, of the network. That might
already have, but TBS, TNT have been doing stuff with the PGA for a while, so they're not going to sever that relationship. So, I don't know. I think there's some people out there a lot smarter than we are, and they're just realizing maybe this tour is not going to be around forever.
Yeah, I think that the Saudis could always come in and buy a platform, buy a network, and say, okay, we'll pay $5 billion for your network to TNT or whatever, but you got to be able to sell it.
Yeah.
They can put that Godfather off there. So okay, you don't want to show us? We'd like to be incorporated in the U.S. We'll buy you guys for $10 billion. They've got not as if they got the cash. It's whether somebody will sell it to them.
Hey, the kickoff time for the college football playoff national championship has been moved up. This is smart. It's now going to be a 7:30 Eastern kickoff instead of an 8:20. The game's going to be on January 9th. We'll be at the casino for that.
It'll be 5:30 our time because the clocks will come back.
Yep.
Okay, 5:30 our time. Good time. It's a good time.
No, it'll be 2 hour time
because we're going to change again here November.
It's better than 6:20. Yeah. So I always wonder about that. I feel so sorry for people when these guys watch these games so late. It's just ridiculous.
Especially when the Pac-12 kicks off at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Yeah, and then by halftime, you're probably 10:30ish.
But I guess you're out and about on a Saturday night, and
come home.
Your bars, you got football to watch at 10 o'clock.
The city that never sleeps in New York, right? They got the games on 24/7.
Yeah, man. Speaking on, we are on YouTube and Facebook. Check it out. Just search Roc and Manuch. You can find us out there. But if you haven't done it yet today, you can do it right now. Text PEAKS to 55678. That's PEAKS to 55678. You'll be entered to win a customized backyard grill patio set, courtesy of Twin Peaks Blue Moon and Coors Light. We'll be out at Twin Peaks in Glendale this coming Thursday, so we hope to see you out there. Coming up in the next hour, we will catch up with Kevin Rowe, Learner in Rowe. We'll do our picks. Talking a lot of gambling today on a Friday, which is always nice. And we'll get you caught up in some of the big stories today that have to do with the Cardinals, guys that are not going to play.
30 seconds.
And the latest on Robert Sarver.
Just keeps giving.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So we're out here at Right Toyota. We won't go wrong. RightToyota.com. It's Rock, it's Manuch, it's Jax. No Jimmy B today. We'll get him back here next Friday as I got to go on assignment next week.
Yeah, you got those assignments are starting up here,
10
don't
seconds.
I don't have that many this year, but
Yeah.
I go Steelers and Browns, and then Buckeyes and Badgers.
Somebody's got to do them, Rock.
Yeah. Sorry.
Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Proudly sponsored by On Air Sports Marketing and is powered by the injury attorneys Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900 and always online at
Guys are hot.
lernerandrowe.com. Now time for Calling All Sports with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on Fox Sports 910.
Well, we got a minority owner and vice chairman of the Suns calling for Robert Sarver to resign. Cards are heading to the Raiders on Sunday without a couple key receivers not playing. Welcome in hour number 3. Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B here on Fox Sports 910. We're presented to you by Lerner and Rowe. Join us at we get him to join us at 3:30.
Okay,
and that way we can get picks in and do some prime time business with him. I think he would like to do that.
He's available at
see if
that
we
time.
can get him to do picks. Give away a $50 gift card. But let's get this first hour started. I should say this third hour started with the top story.
Time for the top local and national stories of the hour. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Bet big on your favorite teams and players in an environment that's as exciting as the game you're watching. There's no better place in the Valley to get in on the action. The Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar. Now, guys, what's your top story this hour?
Still Robert Sarver, but it's taken to another level as a representative of the NBA Players Association has called for a lifetime ban of Suns majority owner Robert Sarver. And we're going to go to the tape here in a minute when you get it ready for us, Ben. But
got it.
How do you say her name?
Tamika Tremiglio. Tamika Tremiglio.
She's the executive director of the NBPA, and she's speaking on behalf of the NBA players. Here's what she had to say this afternoon.
Absolutely. We are absolutely calling for that. We do not want him to be in a position where he is managing or engaging with individuals who are engaging with our players or our players themselves. We are absolutely clear from the findings that are in that report that we do not want him to be in that position. No, absolutely. So yes, as the executive director of the NBPA, I am speaking on behalf of our players. It is our players' desire that while we understand that there has been a thorough investigation, and we're very pleased that the NBA was able to follow through
10
on
seconds.
that, because that's clearly something that we want to see happen. We also want to make it very clear that we do not want him back in a position where he will be impacting our players and those who serve our players on a daily basis.
She was also asked if there's been any conversations with her players, since she represents the players, about boycotting games as training camp gets going here in about a week. And she said, quote, "We have not had those discussions as of yet. We are all gearing up for the season."
Well, there it is. The players have spoken. We've been talking about that for a couple days, Rock. And when we hear from players, we heard from CP3 of the Suns. We heard from LeBron James now. She speaks for all of the NBA players, as far as we know, that have said, no, we do not want him to continue on as an owner. We don't want him to continue on and be a participant in the National Basketball Association for all the things he's done. We do not want him. So they've spoken. So there's that shot to Adam Silver, the commissioner. He's done all he can do. He gets this. Now you got John Najafi, one of the minority owners, penned an open letter to the team employees Thursday. They said that after the 1-year suspension and being fined for 10 years, he said that there should be a zero tolerance for discriminatory actions in place. And they want him, that being one Robert Sarver, out to no longer run the team. That's coming from minority owner, a billionaire. So you got that in place, and it'll be interesting to see if Robert Sarver wants to come back after his 1-year suspension, what the minority owners do at that time. Do they buy him out? Do they force him out? I don't know what legalese, what backgrounds you do. You can give it a try, but I think the groundswell continues from so many more areas. PayPal said that if he does come back as the operating manager, they will pull their partnership with the Suns and the Mercury. So there's that shot. There's the mayor of Phoenix. She's weighing in about they may have their own investigation. I don't know why.
Yeah,
They may do something to that point since they do own the facility downtown. They'll put their 2 cents in. I don't know. Has Doug Ducey weighed in? I haven't seen the governor of Arizona whether he's weighed in or not on Robert Sarver. So you can see that after the 1-year suspension and after the $10 million fine, people want more than a pound of flesh. They want him out. They're not saying he has to sell the team. They're saying he can own the team, but they don't want him involved with the NBA whatsoever, any form, fashion, or whatever at this point in time. Who's left to come forward besides other sponsors, Rock? I mean, besides the PayPals of the world, the footprint, footprint centers of the world.
I think what's going to happen is we're going to start hearing from some individuals that are the victims.
Yeah, it's true.
Someone's going to get a story. Mm-hmm. Channel 12, 10, 5, whatever, 3, any 5, who knows? Someone's going to get a story. Somebody's going to want to talk. That's upset that he didn't get banned from the NBA or didn't have to sell his team.
We saw that in the first 2 hours of when it all came down, that several of the people that were part of those stories are just good for now. And who one gal was that she was wrongfully harmed and said, okay, so much for NDAs. She goes, I had to sign an NDA and they still came to me and the Suns outed me. So now she wants, for you, Rock, she probably wants to come back and maybe some civil suits now.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Look at the civil suits we saw against Deshaun Watson. I mean, look at these egregious acts. Not that one's any worse than the other. So you might see many, many more come out for a civil suit against Robert Sarver independently or against the Phoenix Suns.
You wonder right now, what is his day-to-day? What is Robert Sarver's day-to-day? Knowing that this is hanging over him.
Maybe he's on his yacht in San Diego hanging out. I don't know.
I mean, what do you do? I mean, you can't go anywhere.
No. I mean, you're the villain from here on out. What you did.
I mean, it's time will hopefully.
Well, and then the court of public opinion, people are just going to continue to blister him.
Yeah,
men, women, minorities. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. And we've heard of Robert Sarver's antics and egregious and over the years from people that used to work there and saw this and this, and you're like, okay, well, yeah, I hope it doesn't come back to bite him. Well, it came back to bite him big time. And whatever he's going to do and how they monitor, whether he's getting information to get information back to the powers to be, to the James Jones of the world, or the new individual, the Garvin guy that's basically that's handling all day-to-day operations. I don't know who monitors that. Who's the suspension patrol for something to that?
Yeah,
do they do a checks and balances every month? Or I don't know. It's a mess right now. It's unfortunate. Puts a huge black eye on the Suns organization right when they get back to prominence of being in the hunt for winning the NBA title.
Yeah, I don't know, Manuch. I mean, I've been kind of beat my head against the wall trying to figure out, okay, can this get any worse than it already is? And I don't know if it could get any worse.
I think it gets worse with the civil suits that could come forward, with more sponsors that come forward. I think if there's a good indication that if Robert Sarver bows his neck and says, the hell with you, I'm coming back, I'm going to run this organization, then I think you see more fallout with that. Unless he says, look, it looks as though I screwed up, I apologize what she has, I'm going to move on. I'm going to remain the owner, but I'm going to remove myself from day-to-day operations effective immediately for good. And then I think that keeps your sponsors in place, and that keeps this guy in place. And then the NBA goes, okay, good, we can move on. This guy will never be involved again.
Hey, moving on with the Cardinals. Of course, they're going to be in Las Vegas this weekend. A lot of people from Arizona heading over to Nevada. No Rondell Moore or Andy Isabella. They are out with injuries. J.J. Watt looks as though he's going to go, which will be great. But Redbirds need to get their first win of the season. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it against this Raiders team.
Yeah, banged up, patched up, and how effective will J.J. Watt be? I mean, he's not much of a threat as far as pushing the line, as far as sacking, but he's a good run defensive guy. Good guy in the field. Use him how you can. And the rest of this defense, is going to have to pick it up because you're not going to have many weapons, experienced weapons, I should say. But Chelsea's going to be playing. Andrea Pacelli is going to be playing. You're going to see.
Nobody even knows who he is.
You don't. Yeah. How much experience does the kid have? Andy Isabella had the.
AJ Green's going to have a big game. Man.
He's going to have to.
I'm going to start up.
Hollywood Brown going to have a big game. Hey, Zach Ertz going to have a big game.
Our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question today, which kind of plays into this. What Cardinals defender must have an outstanding performance against the Raiders? Your choices are Simmons, Collins, Baker, or the corners. I went with the corners. I think the corners are going to be vital. They have to have a big game for them to have any success.
And I think it's all about the green dot, too. I don't know who's going to be having the green dot. Isaiah Simmons is a little confused, a lot of confusion. They said lack of it's pretty much poor communication, if you will, on the field. And, hey, the guy, they had no dress rehearsals with the green dot. He had no preseason play. So he went out there and was doing his thing, trying to get guys lined up. Just could not quite do it. So I think for me, it's Isaiah Simmons that he's going to have to pretty much be the guy that's going to have to make sure that the calls are right, that he's one of those impactful guys. Zaven Collins, I think, is still on the job training as far as this Cardinals team is concerned. So I think for all intents and purposes, it's a good combination. I'm going to go with Isaiah Simmons, and the way it looks there right now, he's the leader in the clubhouse at 71.4%. Collins, 7. Buddha, 7, and cornerbacks, Rock, to your point, 14.3%. Still go online at Roc and Manuch and vote.
Hey, Monday, 2 Monday night games, and we are hosting Monday Night Football once again in Casino, Arizona. We call it Monday Night Tailgate. It's our 22nd year of hosting Monday Night Football. Cash and prizes, their kickoff jackpot, squares, props, football bingo we'll have this week. We're going to be doing the Vikings-Eagles game, and we do it all. And it's all for cash, and it's free. It's free to be there, and all you got to do is show up, and you have an opportunity to win some cash. We gave away a lot of cash last week. We're going to do it again this Monday. Doors open at 4 o'clock. Again, there's a game that starts at 4:30, but the game that we are going to do is the 5:30 game, so the second game.
30 seconds.
And we're having fun in the new sports book in the CAZ Sports Bar. So check it out. We'll be there this Monday. Coming up, Texas, the University of Texas reportedly spent $280,000 during Arch Manning's official recruitment visit. We'll break it all down. It's astonishing as we continue on from Wright Toyota. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B right here on Fox Sports 910. Texas Longhorns spared no expense to get their number 1 overall recruit in Arch Manning this past summer on an official recruitment visit there in Austin. It was in June. The university spent $280,000. They rolled out the red carpet. Now, Manning is the nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning, who verbally committed right after this trip, and you would know why after I kind of break this all down. Now, it seems like a lot of money on the surface, but when you really consider that the university is allowed to provide meals, entertainment, and provide lodging up to 4 family members per recruit. So that's the rule. And they had 9 recruits that weekend. So you multiply that by the 4 family members, you get 36 guests. Okay, so that's a lot.
Yes.
And that includes the school coaches and staff. They're part of this as well. So the tab can run up pretty quick. But they got the money. Texas got the money. I mean, shoot.
Everything's bigger than Texas Rock.
They gave Sark, $34 million in 2021.
Yes.
And then another $21 million in contracts for his staff. So they're not having any issues with that. But when you kind of break this down, I mean, this is the biggest quarterback recruit that they've gone after since Vince Young. I mean, this is huge. And now Texas going into the SEC. I mean, they had to do everything possible to get this.
Pull out all
kid,
stops,
right?
Rock. All stops.
So here's kind of the breakdown on how Texas spent their money. $21,000 was on travel. So that's for the recruits, that's the families, and that included airfare that's out of state as well. Just over $46,000 in rooms. They stayed at the Four Seasons. They had 34 rooms. They had a lunch buffet. Now, I don't know what was on this lunch buffet, but it was $17,000. That's a hell of a buffet.
It's a hell of a buffet. What pizza and spaghetti on that bad boy?
All the recruits, when they got into their rooms, they had these custom cakes made. And that was $1,800. I spent another $3,400 on speaker rentals of photo shots of Memorial Stadium there.
Mm-hmm.
They did another buffet, but this is a dinner buffet, and it was $29,000.
Boys are eating good.
They had ice sculpture. They had it all.
Sure.
Then they spent $11,880 on an open bar for the parents.
A lot of booze. A lot of beverages right there.
They had a breakfast buffet, which was over $10,000. I mean, we've all stayed at hotels and they had the buffet, right?
Sure, yeah.
Those things aren't $10,000.
No, they've got a lot of
some eggs, some pancakes. You got the little small cereals. I mean, what else do you need? I mean,
they could have some other really foo-foo stuff out there.
They spent just close to $9,500 on a trip to Topgolf. They had 75 guests there, so that included food and drinks.
Mm-hmm.
They went to dinner at this steakhouse. Now, this is pretty cool. $36,900. And it included 46 7-ounce lobsters, 34 bone-in ribeyes, 26 8-ounce fillets, 17 New York strips, sea bass, chicken fried lobster, lobster mac and cheese, and some other goodies.
I'm hungry. Let's go.
And then they decided to go on an hour-long boat cruise on Lady Bird Lake. That was $2,300. And then finally, the hotel bar tab just for the parents, not coaches and everybody else, just the parents.
Okay.
$31,628.75.
Talking about taking advantage of something, man. I'll have a couple extra. They're right there at the hotel. They just go upstairs. I'll have an extra.
So of those, what did I say? 9 recruits?
9 times the 4.
Yeah, was it 9 total? I think is what I said. Of the 9 recruits, they were able to. There was 8 recruits. 3 of the 8.
Yeah, 3 out of 8
signed.
Yeah, you look
and
at
they got 4. They're all 4-star athletes. They even got Manning's high school teammate Will Randall, who was a tight end for his high school.
That might have been part of the deal to bring Arch along. Well,
there's still one more guy that's still uncommitted, but reportedly it's either Texas or OU.
So 3, 4 out of 8, not bad. You're pushing close to 50%. I mean, I know a lot of these colleges when they lay the red carpet out, not quite like that, but they have a hell of a weekend. If they bring 10 in, they're hoping to get 2 or 3, and hopefully try to get them to commit before they leave. Hey, just let you know, hey, are you ready to commit right now? If you're not, that's okay. It's kind of that quasi pressure. We'd love to have you and right now, and hell, we'll throw your tight end in with you too if you want to bring him out, and you guys can be roommates, and that's like big league right there, Rock. I mean, that's Texas. That's how they do it there, and that's why if you keep signing those 4-star recruits, you keep doing that, you'll be able to handle the Bamas when they come in, or maybe next year you start to beat the Alabamas. You start to turn the corner.
So tomorrow night, Eastern Michigan's in town to face the Sun Devils, and down in Tucson, North Dakota State. Pac-12 Network for Arizona State. FS1 will have the Arizona game, as Arizona State has won 20 for their last 25 home games against non-conference opponents. They're 1-1 against MAC schools all time. This, you hope that they could just blow these guys out. I mean, they need to blow them out, Eastern Michigan. There's no reason.
Well, yeah, they do, and feel good about yourself, or feel good that you've had a couple games. This is your 3rd game, your 4th game next week. You got Utah coming in town because you're going to need all hands on deck. I think for Herm Edwards and his staff, come out of this game unscathed, nobody gets hurt, and have a really good, solid game. Have a lot of confidence when Utah comes in next week, because Utah, I mean, after they should have beat Florida. Let's just face it. They should have beat Florida back in Florida. They didn't. And they've got things turned around. Cam Rising, their fine quarterback. I mean, you got to be set and ready to go. So this will be I call ultra scrimmage versus the NAU opening game. This is going to be more. There'll be more of a a lot better team than
a little better, not much. But I mean, last week they played Louisiana. They allowed 0 points in the first half.
Yeah.
49 in the second.
Yeah, well,
that's huge.
Little drop off there in the halves, and then if at U of A, you got North Dakota State coming in town, a very good program, always have been. How do you handle them before you start your conference play next week? And can you go ahead and build off of what you had that first game? You hung around for about a half against State, and then they just kind of wore on you. So DeLorean's got to get himself back on track as quarterback, receiving core, all the above, and then especially their defense. They're going to have to step up against North Dakota State, because this is a very good, solid, fundamentally sound North Dakota State team. They don't make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, and they've won 9 of their last 11 championships in the FCS, and the first game against an FBS school since 2016 when they won at Iowa 23-21. They've won 6 straight FBS schools. They've won against, I should say.
Yes.
They're 9-3 since 1980. I mean, it's the first ever meeting with a Pac-12 school for North Dakota State. But yeah, if you're betting, man,
it's a tough one.
You may lean North Dakota State here at the points.
That's a tough. I think last year Northern Illinois won it all, and it's the first year that North Dakota State did not win it since NIU won it, and I forget who NIU played to win that championship. But here it is, your last full-blown non-conference schedule for ASU and U of A before you move on into the Pac-12 schedule. And just
2 minutes
for ASU, with so many new faces on this team, to give them enough playing time to make sure that they're ready to go and they feel comfortable that they get a big lead, they can start to pull these guys out. And I could see ASU in that second half winning like a 38-17 kind of game, somewhere along those lines, to make sure that they're feeling pretty good about themselves.
Trying to find the spread. What is the spread in this game? It's North Dakota State, because I think North Dakota State is actually favored.
Go to the Pac-12 here.
Yeah, they won it last year, Manuch FCS.
Did North Dakota State win it?
Yeah, they beat Montana State in the.
Who did NIU end up beating? Maybe it was in the semi. Maybe it was just for their conference.
Yeah.
That
this NDSU team is scary. They run the ball a lot. One of their running backs, 6'1", 240, is a fullback that they have running downhill. So
they're favored by 2.5.
1 minute.
North Dakota State.
They are.
That's somewhat embarrassing. Don't you think? I mean,
well, you got to remember,
you're at home.
Okay, so Arizona's coming off, 5 horrible seasons. Second year for Jedfish. Okay, they're trying to get this program up, and then North Dakota State is a solid, well-defined program that's coming into Tucson. It doesn't surprise me if they're
Arizona
favored.
did beat San Diego State this year. Okay. It laid an egg last week, but it was a tough opponent.
It was a tough opponent.
SEC opponent.
30.
I mean,
I think history precedes North Dakota State coming into Arizona in this game.
We mean history. They've never played a Pac-12 school.
They haven't, but I mean their history of being a top school in their division, their total division, winning every year, winning 9 out of 10. That's got to have some kind of merit to it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. All right, we need a caller 602-260-9191. Easy for me to say. I almost gave out Kevin Rose's personal number there for our picks. It's not really picks. We call it the over/under. Manuch writes these questions, which I don't know where he gets them or where you.
They're very thought out questions. They're good ones for you.
If you beat them, you get a $50 Visa gift card. Compliments of Lerner and Rowe. 602-260-9191. We'll do that next as we continue from Wright Toyota. It's Fox Sports 910. us down the right to the guest line, Mr. It's Al. We have Al or we have Kevin?
We got Mr. Kevin.
Oh, yeah,
Rowe.
Kevin.
Counselor
All right.
Kevin. Rowe.
Mr. Rowe.
Nothing like being fast today to get in the news. Nothing like that. 0 for 2, buddy.
0 for 2.
Not me. That's the counselor, Kevin. What are you talking about? I mean,
No. I'm talking about your being late. 0 for 2. Last week late, this week late.
That's right.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Any advice, counselor?
My phone number.
Any advice?
Yeah, we called you this time.
We're still going to keep it's only 20, what, our 18th year.
Yeah,
So we'll get through it.
I'm still in the syllabus after 18 years there, counselor. So.
Hey, I know you're such a huge Suns fan. I mean, how cool was it to meet Al McCoy?
You know what? It was awesome. He's legendary. I mean, he's got so many great stories because he's just been around so long. So the likes of the Charles Barkley era, he's got a bunch, and we heard a lot of fun stuff. Just an awesome guy, absolutely fantastic guy.
So were your parade
parameters or
boat or what's it called?
Float. Yeah,
float. Will your float be bigger than Al McCoy's float?
I know you like to float your boat once in a while, but that's a whole nother
Hold on.
story.
This is the most Bush League show I've ever been on. you can't figure out the name float. You're over here trying to think, what is going on with you guys? You called me late. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
See, normally, we've been doing this for so many years. You used to come on in the 1 o'clock hour and 2 o'clock hour. We're already tired. I mean, we got 20 minutes left of the show.
Yeah,
we're already rounding third.
Yeah,
we're done for the week. It's Friday.
As you love to say, buddy, I'm gonna have to go and start doing more of the John Jane Ridge.
You're
more professional.
Well, you've been
more professional.
You've been belly aching about your times. We thought give you prime time.
Yeah,
Here you are.
3:30. I mean,
what the hell?
And we can't have you at 3:45 because we do the Learner Row 1 call, so we can't have you on that. So we've been doing that for 15 years. So All right, let's get to it.
I love you guys.
You're playing.
You're the best.
You're playing against Jeff in Peoria. It's the over/under contest. So first question: Arizona State will score over or under 38 points against Eastern Michigan. Over or under?
I need my due. First, I need my due. Somebody's got to recognize that I won last week. So I need that first.
Wow.
Because it really all came down to that Washington game, and Washington smoked them. So I won last week. I'm 1-0. Yeah. Love that. Steve, love that. Now, this week. Dude, man, you guys got some great stuff going on there. All right, this week. They have over under 38 points ASU. I'm going to go with the over because let me tell you, if Louisiana can put up 49 points on them, then I don't think there's going to be an issue that ASU will be able to do the same. So I'm going over.
All right, Jeff. What's Jeff going with, Ben?
Jeff took the over as well.
Okay.
All right, counselor. Boy, you're getting high maintenance as the years go on. Goodness gracious. Don't hurt yourself. Don't
got to parade after him.
Yeah, don't throw your shoulder out, patting yourself on the back there, counselor. Goodness gracious. All right.
If I don't do it, no one else.
That's true. That's true. All right, question number 2. Total amount of pass attempts in the Cardinals and Raiders game will be over or under 65. Over or under 65 in this Raiders and Cardinals game.
I definitely think there's going to be a lot of pass attempts. I think it's going to be great. I love to see the pass rushing that Chandler Jones is going to be doing on Kyler Murray, so that should be fun. I believe it's going to go over. Last week, they both had 37 and 34, Carr and Murray, so I'm going to go with the over. I think you're going to see over 65.
All right.
Where did Jeff go with Ben?
Jeff go with Ben?
Jeff went with the under.
With the under, okay. All right, Raiders. Number 3. Raiders wide receiver Devontae Adams will have over or under 7 receptions. 7.
I think he's the man. He had 10 last week. I think he's going to have 10 or more this week. I'm going with the over.
Okay.
All right, Jeff. What's Jeff go with?
Jeff went with the over as well, cited that those cornerbacks are terrible.
Okay.
All right, last one, counselor. Winner and score. Think about this very thoroughly now. Winner and score of the Michigan State game playing at Washington. So we need the winner and score. Okay, what's your score going to be?
Of course, it's Washington.
Sure.
I never go against my team. It's interesting, right? This is going to be a real big challenge for Washington. They're playing the number 11th ranked team, but they are playing at home. They played Kent State and Portland State. Put up big numbers, but as they should. It's going to be interesting to see how Michigan State travels and what they can do. But honestly, I am going with Washington at home. Hopefully, they can start the year off strong right now with a big win. And I'm going to go. I'm going to go 30-24. 30-24.
30-24. Spread's 3.5.
Yeah,
Washington's favorite.
Washington's favorite.
I don't get that. And what did Jeff go with?
To quote Jeff on the phone, he said, "Psh, are you kidding me? Michigan State by a lot."
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. All right.
Yeah, so put that in your pipe
I'm
and
going to go
smoke
on
it.
a limb right now. Go ahead and pat myself on the back. Kevin won this week. Thank you, Jeff.
So when are we getting in the Lerner and Rowe private jet and going up to a Washington game? We're all ready to go.
I guess when you buy the private jet, because Lerner and Rowe ain't got one. But we could take the private jet Southwest up there, I guess.
Yes, we can do that. We can always do that. All right. Hey, give us an update on, and we want to do this each week because it's important. 10-year anniversary of Lerner and Rowe Gives Back Golf Tournament and the charity itself. What are some things that people should know now to get ready for this big April event?
Yeah, so we just sent out today the save the date.
Yep.
For Friday, April 28th at McCormick Ranch. You can also go to learnandrowgivesback.com. We sent it out, and we've gotten a lot of positive response already. Can't wait. We're in. We already doing this sponsorship, that sponsorship. So it's good. We're excited about it. This should be an absolutely wonderful event, as you know, Rock. And at the end of the day, my goal is to raise $1 million, but whatever we can raise is still better than nothing because all we do is put 100% of the money raised all goes back into different foundations and charitable organizations right here in Arizona to help the people here in Arizona. So truly excited about that. Lerner and Rowe Gives Back has been busy.
Mm-hmm.
We've had many events already. We just did the Fresh Start luncheon last week, along with the Salt River Firefighter Stair Climb we were part of. And then this next week coming up, we got Night of Hope Gala, which is childhood cancers. And then we got Special Olympic Breakfast that Brock, you've been there. You've seen that before. It's a wonderful event on September 30th. And then going right into the October 1st is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So the first day we have a 5K breast cancer walk. So there's a lot of stuff. And then we turn around October 14th. We're in Las Vegas, Rock.
When do you have time to put a tie on and go into court in the courtroom? When do you have time to do that?
You know what? I try to fit it in there every once in a while.
3 minutes.
We have so many special people that work with us.
Yeah.
A wonderful Lerner and Rowe family over here. The great work we're able to do, obviously, and the trust that that Arizonians have put in us to help them in their time of need has really paid off because we turn around and give a lot of that money back. And if we weren't doing a great job there, we wouldn't be able to raise money and give it back to help those in the community as well. So it's truly exciting. We're truly excited, and hopefully we can reach somewhere near our goal. I mean, $1 million is a lot of money for a one event.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Kev, have a great weekend, buddy. Thanks. Good luck with your picks, and good luck with your fantasy.
Oh, yes, I do have a piece of the rock.
Yep.
This should be fun.
By the way,
his dad beat me last week by like a point.
Oh, Son Sam beat you.
Oh, I'm so mad.
Let me tell you how lucky you got last night. Your defense had like 2 points until the 99-yard pick return.
Yep. That's Kevin Rowe. Lerner and Rowe Gives Back. Check it out. Go to learnandrowgivesback.com. And we do it every week with Kevin Rowe, counselor here. But coming up, we have the Lerner and Rowe One Call. That's all. We do that every week. We'll also have What's on Tap brought to you by 72 Sold. That's coming up as we continue on. We got to tell you what's going on with AZTV Channel 7 as they are now big into football. They're your new home for college football here in Arizona as they're featuring schools that have produced some of the game's best athletes, some great football, high energy halftime bands, coverage that you can't find anywhere else. The feature game this week is Southern University at Texas Southern. That game starts at 2 o'clock on AZTV Channel 7 tomorrow. By the way, a daily digit is 11% increase in female teens 12 to 17 watching NFL football. It's the fastest growing demo. 11% female teens are watching football.
Well, here's the thing. Female flag football has grown exponentially in the state of Arizona.
Really?
There are multiple high school female flag teams now, as well as junior high and grade school. So the female football prowess is growing for flag football.
So are you going to start training quarterbacks?
Absolutely.
Lady quarterbacks?
Yeah. If they need some help, I'll train them. There's been some gals that could spin it.
Yeah.
I was out there at Bell Bank, your park out there, and watching some guys or some gals out there throwing. I said, dang, she throws a better spiral than Jax does here when he's out there spinning around. Oh man. But yeah, there are more and more leagues with females going on.
We're out here at Wright Toyota, where you won't go wrong. We'll continue. It's Fox Sports 9.
Hey, if you're looking for a full-service law firm, just make one call. That's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
Well, but that's your opinion on quality of opponent. All right, it's not mine. I respect all the people that we play, and I respect winning and what you have to do to win. All right, so and every player should not be focused on who they're playing against relative to their motivation, but every player should want to be the best player they can be. So why would it matter whether we're playing Texas or playing somebody else? That's how you do it. That's how you build right habits. That's how you're consistent. I've told you guys more than once, when I was in the NFL, I watched players. I didn't know who they were playing against. I was just evaluating them. So that means when we play a team that's not as good as somebody else, you don't play as good. So you let the opponent determine how you play. You let the score determine how you play. You determine where you're playing. That determines how you play. So when you get evaluated, what's somebody think? Oh, this guy plays pretty good at home. I don't think we'll draft him. Does that make sense? So I respect what it takes to win. All right. Didn't I say this on Monday? What does what's your favorite in a game mean when you're favored by 20 points and you lose, like two teams did this week? What does it mean? It means the people favoring you either don't know what you're talking about, or the players playing got affected by that.
Oh, good old Nick.
Well, fired up there, Rock.
Yeah, I didn't like that question about, what is it?
Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, Louisiana Monroe.
Yeah, the guy, he went on a diatribe about we respect every opponent, and we got to make sure we're batting down, and we can't evaluate a team by their record, whatever. We got to go out there and play as if it's Texas. We're playing all over again.
He wrapped up his radio show yesterday, and he talked about how his team is trying to create their standard for the season, and he's trying to. And he seems like this narrative comes up every year where he's asking fans to come to the game. And that game tomorrow, it's I think at local time, it may be 3:00 and 1:00 our time. And he's literally asking the fans to come to their games, and when they're playing these smaller type schools that they're going to beat by 30.
Yeah,
and he doesn't need the fans, does he?
Well, I think what he's trying to say is he's trying to just make sure, hey, look, we got to respect these opponents. This will be a good game. We want you to come out, watch this game. And these fans are like, hey, coach, your JV team, which literally could beat Louisiana Monroe. What's the motivation for us to come out? And I think a lot of that is recruiting speak. On top of it, we want to have the good experience, because they have recruits come in almost every weekend. They're at all college campuses, and he just wants to make sure that everybody says, hey, look, don't ever sleep on anybody, and don't ever take everybody for granted, because you just never know what can happen. And he alludes to that in that conference talk, is that, hey, look what happened last weekend at Texas A&M, at South Bend, Indiana. More and more of those upsets are starting to happen. Now, Alabama, aside from that game last week, which was a phenomenal game against Texas, there's really no threat posed here. But I just think for him, it's just making sure everybody understands the respect is there from a recruiting standpoint. We want to make sure everybody's in the stands.
The whole thing about the horns down gesture.
Yeah, he was pissed, man.
I know, but is it me, or is it really that big a deal?
I didn't know it was a big deal till last week. And
I don't get it. I mean, this is what you do.
Well,
this is what they do in Texas with the horns.
Well,
and you beat them. Is it really degrading their tradition?
I know that Lincoln Riley, when he was coaching Oklahoma, some of his players did that a few years ago. He went off on him. He went off on him.
Is it something I don't know?
I don't know.
Texas,
Jax, is this horns down thing a thing when players do it?
Isn't it a penalty?
It's
now?
a penalty in the game now. Yeah,
it's a penalty, and
depending on how it's used. I don't know how it.
Well, his one player, when the game was over, his defensive player was standing over the back, and he did the horns down on the guy, and Saban saw him, went over right to him, and said, don't do that. So now I think why he was so upset is he told his guys not to do it during the game.
Okay, that's fair.
And he felt that they were disrespected. He doesn't want that. He wants to make sure things are on the up and up, and ethically sound in games. But I didn't think it was a thing either. When I saw
other than if it's a penalty, okay, you don't do it.
Yeah, but the game was over.
But what's the big freaking
I don't
deal?
know. I don't know. Is it like in Texas, like flipping the bird at somebody or some of that nature? But he went off. He left his security guy. And he did a beeline right to the kid. He grabbed that kid and aired him out. But I've seen Lincoln Riley do it when he smoked Oklahoma.
Yeah, geez. Let's get to our 72. What's on tap?
What's on Tap, powered by 72 Soul. A look at the top sports action tonight on TV. Get our price, a higher price at 72soul.com.
All right, tonight, 6:40, Bally Sports, Arizona. Padres at the D-backs. And looking ahead to tomorrow, so many games getting started early at 9 o'clock. College game day at 7. That's always good stuff. Here on Fox Sports 910, Texas A&M is coming off a disappointing upset loss to Appalachian State. Which will carry over into their matchup on Saturday, I'm sure, at home against Miami, as Hurricanes are undefeated in their first 2 games after defeating Southern Mississippi. So that's tomorrow, 5:30 here on Fox Sports 910, Miami at Texas A&M. On Sunday, we have the Dolphins and the Ravens. Miami currently a 3.5-point underdog for this matchup at M&T Bank Stadium there in Maryland. They're also underdogs on the money line at plus 155. Over under this one is 44.5. So Dolphins, Ravens, 9:30 on the Fox Sports 910. So that is your What's on Tap, powered every day on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B by America's leading home selling program, 72 Sold. How can you not know by now that 72 Sold is the easiest way to sell your home for top dollar? So for the easiest, fastest, most profitable way to sell your home, head to 72sold.com. Get a higher price for your home. Go to 72sold.com.
Looking forward to this Raiders-Cardinals game with the Cardinals banged up. They don't know. Jax, they may call you tonight and sign you to a 5-day contract as a receiver.
I'm a free agent.
To go on over there. And you do it for the minimum, too. You would just do it for the trip, for the meals, and all the above. So I got the Raiders winning this one. I'm going to say 31-17 over the Cardinals. What do you got?
I'm going to say Raiders win 36-20.
Okay, Rock?
16.
I'm going to go 31-14.
Okay, all right. And Ben, pulling up the rear there, what do you got?
The Cardinals are absolutely coming out on top in this game, 27-21.
And wouldn't it be like them?
Of course. He also said Kevin Durant was going to be a Phoenix Sun.
Yeah, exactly.
How'd that work out?
So
He was adamant about that.
Yeah, I know.
Adamant.
You guys will beat Crow. Okay, what do you want?
Listen. I take big swings in my broadcasting career. Sometimes I swing and miss, but all I know is that sitting on the fence is terrible broadcasting.
Well,
all right.
It's gonna be interesting how they react and what Cliff Kingsbury, how he controls the offense when you don't have a lot of your Rondell Moore and Isabella out of the lineup.
Yep.
Tight ends, running game, and Hollywood Brown, you're going to have to step up, and A.J. Green. Y'all are going to have to step up big time.
This is where a veteran like A.J. Green really needs to have a big game.
He really could. But he's just truly a possession guy. You guys, he's just, he doesn't have the burst. He can get separation a little bit. He's more of your possession guy. I just think that, look at Zach Ertz to have a big game, and I think that James Conner to have a big game if they're going to win this game against the Raiders.
Love to see James Conner have a big game. I need him in my fantasy.
Is that right?
Yeah. I literally lost by a point.
Did you?
Oh, week.
Wow.
A point. I'm watching on Monday night. Jackson, he saw me on my screen, and, I had, I can't remember who I had still playing. The running back, Gordon. And I think Juju or
Juju Schuster-Smith?
No, who did Sam had? He had the wide receiver for
Judy.
Yeah. And that was the difference. It was like, it sucked.
Yeah. My gross smoked me, but I got Jimmy B this week. I feel pretty good about my team this week.
Good job this week, Ben. This is his second full week by himself.
Not bad.
Driving by himself.
Jax, good job.
Yeah.
Buddy.
All the streaming. You missed anything, go to rockandmanuch.com. Make sure you download the app. Just download the iHeartMedia app. We're right there. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday at Casino Arizona.